I just want to check. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Narottam Kishore, and I welcome you all to this latest edition of another admission events of the PGPMAX program at ISB. I'm an associate director at Indian School of Business, and I take care of admissions for the PGPMAX program at ISB. Now, every Saturday, we keep conducting a lot of admission events, and over the last 3 months, we have been conducting admission events related to where we have been calling alumni, PGPMAX alumni, and they have been coming and they have been sharing their experiences about how they went through the PGPMAX journey and how their career shaped up post PGPMAX program. Based on that, we received a lot of feedback from participants, and they said, why not we invite certain students? And it will be great to hear their perspective. And that's where we are today. Based on your feedback, we have invited 3 of the current PGPMAX class, and they are here. They are kind enough to share their time, and they will be talking about their experiences, how they went through this, how they are going through this journey, and why they took up the decision to taking up this PGPMAX program. So this session is for you in the sense that they have come here for you, and make full use of that, so in the sense that you do ask any questions that you have for them, and that will make this session more informative and interactive for you. But before we proceed, let me talk about the format of this session. For the first half an hour, I will be asking them 2-3 questions. And once they have completed answering those 2-3 questions, then I'll open it up for the Q&A session. Now you have this Q&A box or the chat box. You can type your questions in those Q&A box. If you have any questions for any of our panelists over here, you can type your questions over there, and I will be taking those questions, and I'll be asking those questions on your behalf to the panelists that you have directed your questions to. And we'll continue this as long as you want, in the sense that although we have made this session till 6 o'clock, but if there are any more questions, I will be there to answer those questions, but we will close this session for the panelists. At least panelists can leave by 6 p.m. But if we have any more questions, I will take those questions after 6 p.m. I'll be there till the time you have those questions. So that's how we will have this format, and that's how we'll proceed for this session. So for today's session, we have 3 PGPMAX students. We have Nilesh Patel. He is a global project head at Sanofi Healthcare India Private Limited. Second, we have Anand Jayaraman. He is a senior manager at Ford Motor Company Limited. And third, we have Bhagshri Sani. She is an associate marketing director at Games 24/7. So let me start by asking our panelists to just introduce themselves in the sense that where they are right now, and how when did they decide to do this PGPMAX journey, and what thought process they went through before they come to the decision of applying to a PGPMAX program at ISB. That's where I thought if each one of our panelists can share their insights on that question, that will really help them to connect with our audience today. So maybe Nilesh, you want to start with and talk about, maybe introduce yourself and then talk about your journey of how you come up with the decision of applying to PGPMAX program. And then Anand and Bhagshri. Over to you, Nilesh.
Thanks, Narottam. Good afternoon, everyone. So as Narottam mentioned, currently we are students at PGPMAX, and ideally we should have been alumni by now, but with COVID situation, we are still students here. But the journey has been excellent. And so I think we'll try to give our journey, but every journey is different for everyone. So I think how does it fit to you, in each of you? You need to ask the questions and we'll try to answer them. For me personally, when I started the PGPMAX program, I was going through a career where in Sanofi, which is a pharmaceutical company, I did my PhD in biochemical engineering. So I was core into research program. And then after doing the research program, I moved into operations, and then also moved from Canada to India. And then in India, in operations, I started moving towards projects part. And I felt that my technical knowledge and other aspects that I have developed through the journey that I have gone through, there was some sort of gap in terms of understanding the market and understanding to go to the next career path, for example, launching new products and things like that. So of course, you need to have a discussion with your company and your managers and others to make sure that where you want to go into your future path? Do you have the right tools to meet that? And when I did make that assessment for myself, I found that I needed to have some strong courses or tools that I can use to grow myself. And upon research, I found PGPMAX from ISB. And there were certain key aspects that I was looking for. As I mentioned that I work for a global company, so I was looking for a program where I could get an experience of not only Indian aspect, but also the global part. And the PGPMAX did fit that program. On top of that, it was giving us opportunity to do 2 courses outside India. And so I did all this research and it did fit to me. So in my career, as I wanted to transition from research and operations to more into product launches and to become more on that, I felt this was the right fit for me. That is it, Narottam, for now. And then I can give more background as students or as future students wants to hear about it. Thanks.
Right, friends. My name is Anand Jayaraman. I work at Ford Motor Company. I have close to 24 years of overall experience. So I followed my passion for engineering and excellence, and I got into the depths of managing operations excellence with supply chains, my suppliers for Ford Motor Company for 24 years. The reason for me to take a transition from a very shop floor oriented career to a business oriented career. At this stage of experience, you see you're getting into more roles that have exposure to bigger business decisions, investment decisions, future planning decisions for the company. And I was certainly feeling the lack of a formal business education, although you develop a lot of experience being on the job with respect to, when you make investment decisions, pay off and all that, you get pockets of knowledge. But what I thought I was missing is a complete comprehensive understanding of all aspects of business that would help me be a better manager for my company. And that was one of the prime drivers for me to consider a business degree. Prior to joining ISB, I've also done a lot of leadership programs from Ivy Leagues. I'm a Columbia Business School alumni as well. That's a leadership program. I have spent a considerable amount of time doing short courses around strategy, finance from several leading Indian institutes as well, like IIMB and IIMA. But when it came to a choice of choosing my B school for my B program, for my MBA, I leaned heavily towards ISB for 2 reasons. A, it's the program that gives you the flexibility to continue working whilst pursuing your master's degree. I think there's not many programs in India that gives you that kind of a flexibility. 2, the most compelling reason for me was because the professors that come for PGPMAX. You get a suite of professors that come from across the globe. Knowledge that is imparted to you is imparted through the professors, having professors from UCLA, Anderson, Wharton, Kellogg, and some of the leading B schools in the US was a big influence in me choosing ISB over any of the other available options in India. And it has certainly paid off. One of the best memories I have is sitting through classes of some of the professors of finance, Professor Simi Kedia or Professor Suren Mansingha. Simi is a ex-Harvard professor. Professor Mansingha is a UCLA professor. The value they bring to you with their global experience, having dealt with students, think about a class in Harvard, it's not one nationality, right? They face students coming from different diverse backgrounds, geographically, work-wise, and they absorb that knowledge from all the questions and come and transplant that in the classes. And that has been rich, absolutely rich. I don't think there would have been a substitute for that anywhere else. And finally, the third reason is your value. Once you have done a program, it needs to be valued, respected, and accepted in the industry. Otherwise, you just have a token yourself. You could go do it from a non-repeated industry, and that was very important for me. And ISB's reputation with leading industry MDs and CEOs, and also the alumni who came back and vouched saying, if you say you're an ISB alumni in the Indian employment community, there is respect, there is recognition that you have a high quality degree. I mean, those were the three primary factors that sold it for me in terms of choosing ISB over anything else. Have I been satisfied? Vastly. I mean, I don't think I would have got such great knowledge, such great classmates, and an excellent institute to learn from. I've benefited a lot. I feel more wholesome today at work, and I think it's been one of the best decisions in my life. The only regret I have is I made it after 24 years of being at work. I should have made it 5-10 years earlier. It would have given me a much better opportunity to get few roles in my company earlier on, as opposed to from this point on. So overall, excellent experience. So that I'll turn it on to Bhagyashree for her to share her experience with this.
Firstly, hello everyone. Good to meet all of you. And thank you, Narottam, for this opportunity. And hopefully, whatever experience that we share today will help these guys take some decisions for the future. And by the end of the session, we hope that you kind of little clear about what you want to do. And secondly, I kind of really, I'm very excited to share this virtual stage with Nilesh and Anand, because, we started off as classmates, but now we are friends and we have gone through this grilling journey together. And it was an amazing ride, like Anand said. Coming back to the question of, how we kind of decided this, I kind of agree with Nilesh that, this journey is very personal, but what I would say is, I think it's important to answer three questions before you kind of take the leap. First is why you want to do this. Second, what you want to do. And third, where you want to do it from. Why you want to do this? Again, for me, I had almost 10 years of pure brand marketing experience, OLX, Vodafone. And I knew that, I can continue in that brand marketing experience for another 5 years. But I knew that few years down the line, there'll come a point where I would be expected to know more than just my functional expertise. And that's when this question kind of popped up my head, that, should I really wait for that moment to come where I kind of struggle with it, or I get little foresighted about it. So I chose to be a little foresighted about it, and I decided to do this little early in my career. The second important question when I was deciding why I want to do this was what life stage I was personally and professionally. Personally, because it requires a lot of time and effort from your end. So personally, I had the support system, so I was clear about that. And professionally, it's important because you can't be sitting in the class attending calls or checking your mails, etc. It definitely requires a lot of effort and concentration. So you have to kind of check your organization is in alignment with this aspiration of yours. So I think those are the three key important things I checked and got me the answer of why I wanted to do this. And second thing that came to my mind was what I wanted to do. Honestly, I had two things in mind. One, I was looking at a course in luxury brand marketing from France, because like I told you, I had brand marketing experience, and I thought maybe I can probably get to the next level by learning a bit more. And the second option I was thinking was, do I need to kind of break my comfort zone and look at something beyond my personal expertise. And like I told you, the more you think about why you want to do it, you'll get an answer to the other two questions as well. And when I thought about it, I chose the latter. I chose to break my comfort zone. I chose to pick up, a course which was more holistic in nature, which was more comprehensive in nature, of organization, which I was definitely not aware of. I had no experience in it, so it was obviously an uncomfortable decision. But I thought, like they say, magic happens when you break your comfort zone, and magic did happen for us. The last question that probably you have in your head is where you want to do it from. I think Anand kind of really elaborated that quite a bit, and I completely agree with him that when we thought of where we want to do it from, ISB definitely was like, at least for me, was the only choice I had. And to be very honest, guys, if I wouldn't have got selected this last year through ISB, I would have tried again, but I wouldn't have kind of settled for anything else but ISB. And of course, the reasons are the same what Anand mentioned. It's the kind of professors they bring to the table. It's the kind of classmates that you have, the unique point of view that they bring to the table, and of course the equity that ISB brings to you, professionally. And of course, in the way the course is also constructed, that by the end of it, trust me, you'll feel a lot more aware, you'll feel a lot more enriched, you'll feel a lot more smarter, you'll feel you'll definitely feel uplift in your thought process from where you were to where you now. So I'll kind of keep it short, not talk too much. So over to you, Narottam. Anything else that you wish to know?
Well, thank you, Bhagshri. Very insightful. I think all three of you gave a beautiful story of how you came to the decision of applying to this program, and I'm sure your answers would have helped you connect with the audience here. Now, another question that I have for you is about, like, based on your experience of last 15 months that you have been to this program, and now any prospective candidate who wants to take an admission into this program, what can they expect and how can they take the best out of this program? Any insights, anything, maybe Nilesh, you can share about your experience, how you, what you experienced, and if somebody has to join this program, how can they take the best out of this program? And that will, I'm sure, will help our attendees today. Nilesh, you want to touch upon that question?
Okay. So I think partially I'll go back to what Bhageshwar was mentioning, that before you want to commit to this program, you need to look at both professionally and personally whether you're ready for the program. The program is not, how do you call, you can do it just by fly. It requires a dedication from everyone. So I think your dedication to the program commitment requires your families, your employers. If you're personally also doing your own business, you need to look at all that. So once you feel that it is ready to commit onto this program, then I would go back to see that why do you want to do this program? And as partially Bhageshwar was mentioning, that once you know what you want to achieve from this program, what will happen is that when you go through various courses, you may identify that some of this is really applicable to you, which you want to go deeper into it. There's definitely the knowledge that you'll gain from every course and every session that you'll be gaining. It may not be all relevant to you because it's a general program. And so you need to, of course, know everything just because as an MBA program outcome of this, you need to have the idea about the economics and everything. But for me, what I did was that, as I said, what I wanted to get out of the program, I had clearly identified which areas I want to focus on. To give you an idea about the product launches, as an example, is where I want to focus on. So I wanted to understand the market economics, and I wanted to understand how the decision making has to be done with product design and product customer in focus on it. So whenever the courses or the products that were taught onto these specific programs, I took an extra effort to make sure that I get to deep understanding of this program. So linking what you want to achieve out of the program and then what you're learning during the courses will be the best outcome that you can get from the overall one.
Sure. Thank you, Nilesh. Anand, you want to talk about how candidates or any new candidate can take the best out of this program?
I think it's really up to every individual, right? The programs are both deep. The program is deep and comprehensive, and it has. I mean, if you compare the curriculum to any of the leading reputed institutes, you'd find the same subjects, same topics, and I mean, it's a finite discipline as far as MBA is concerned. But as Nilesh said, everybody comes in with a certain perspective. For me, the strategic aspect of decision making, the economics of making good decisions, how do you add value to the company, what are good and bad decisions from a business standpoint, all these appeal to me. And I think I've learned that not in one course. I don't think it comes out and you have an answer to your list of 10 or 15 criteria in one course. And that's the beauty of a business program that's over a period of 12 months, is you sit in the economics class and you get an understanding of the economics of decisions. You come to the strategy class and you get why you make certain decisions to get a competitive edge against who you are competing with in whatever business you are in. And then you get to the finance class, you learn about how do you evaluate the the decision financially, saying what is the benefit you're getting in terms of the dollars, because every company is measured in dollars. And then you go to the stakeholders in ethics class and you look at these decisions and come back and say, you might be making a great decision for the bottom line and that will please the Wall Street or the Dalal Street, but how do you make sure the stakeholders of your company, which is the employees, the customers, the environment, is taken care of, right? So the answer to one question will not be in any one course. It'll be if you string together the concepts that you learn in different modules, and as I explained. And I think that's where the beauty comes. The professors and the curriculum has been so beautifully woven together. One leads to another, and the sequence in which you do it, all that helps you register, and you will have hundreds of aha moments through the course. I mean, you will sit down and reflect on decisions you've made and said, if I had known this before, maybe I would have made a better decision in my company. Or you might have wondered why your company was taking a certain strategic direction, which was you couldn't understand, and you will have that aha moment. And I have had hundreds, right? I mean, it's all after going through various classes. And I think that's the beauty of an MBA program, how you extract from different modules, connect them together and get a whole comprehensive picture. If that helped, Narottam.
Sure. No, thank you. Thank you, Anand. Bhakshri?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with Anand here. It's very difficult for me also to kind of pinpoint one subject or one particular aspect, because I think the different knowledge streams which you'll be using in different situations at work and otherwise. So to give you an example, like currently I'm working with a gaming firm, which is very heavily into data science, right? Now I studied the analytical aspect of it in one of the terms that we had studied, right? So I kind of connect with that because of what I studied then. Similarly, when I was working with Vodafone in my previous organization, when we were going through this merger of Vodafone and Idea, there were so many aspects of it which I was just not aware of working in a particular function that I did in as per my experience. So that kind of opened up, a lot of thinking there for me. And I kind of started connecting the dots and understanding, okay, does it make sense? Does it make sense? Etc. etc. So it is, I think, you'll probably realize, after you're done with the course, that, you'll be using these things in different aspects of your life. And it would not be as clear as, I've got this one thing and I know I will pursue this one thing for like next 10 years. So that's my take as well. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Bhakshri. Now, my last question, and after that, I'll open it up for Q&A. So maybe Nilesh, you can start with, and then Anand and Bhakshri, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Now, Nilesh and all, Anand and Bhakshri, you have been in the class for the last 15 months, and you have participated with different people in the classroom. Now, if you have to advise someone who wants to be a part of this next cohort, and in terms of application, the people who are preparing, trying to apply to this program, how they should be, preparing their applications so that they have a good chance of being the part of that class. Maybe you can share your thoughts based on your experience of interacting with your participants, with the participants of this class for your cohort, and the kind of observation you have seen with different students of this class, how any applicant can strengthen their chance of getting an admission to this program. So any thoughts will be really helpful for our attendees today. Nilesh?
I think strengthening the application, considering the class, I don't know, but I can give you the journey that I took. And I think everyone has to be what you are, I think. And I think it starts from what we initially mentioned, that why do you want to do this course? And when I started thinking about PGPMAX, what I did was I looked at why do I want to do it? And then I started doing the application. The application was not very easy. Like we went through it for multiple times. We had to write about ourselves, essays and other things. And when I look at the class today and I think about myself, I did not know what the class would be, but I definitely met few, alumni at that time. I met some of the university colleagues on that, and I did some research on it. But at the end of the day, the application is really about you, right? What do you bring to the class? And I think it's not only what you get out of it. PGPMAX also evaluates what you are bringing to the class. And I think if you can highlight in the application things like what knowledge that you have gained, where you can add value to the discussions, where you can add value to your experience that you have got from your own field. Since coming from pharma, I have a very specific aspects that I was going to bring on. So I wrote essays which were highlights with such a diverse group of people, because the learning is happening in the class with the discussion. It's not just the presentation, so it's not just the notes that we are talking about. So therefore, I think if you can just highlight in your application clearly what is that you bring to the table and how you can put it together, I think that would help the applications.
Sure. Thank you, Nilesh. Anand, you want to share your thoughts?
I'll be very honest. I paid very little effort. I usually pour a huge amount of effort into my assignments, and that's been the grief of my, term mates. For I drag them into. But with respect to the application, I probably spent 2 days. I was just honest. I just gave a very honest opinion of where I am with my career and what I want from ISB and what I want from a program. And I said, here's what I have to offer. And I kept it that simple. I turned in my application on a day before the, it wasn't a hurry, to be honest. It was the day before the final date. I remember I was in the US and I sent it over, and it all happened very quickly. From the date of applying to the date of being in class was about 30 days, because that's how our program was packed, because we were a April cohort. But 2 things. Honesty, just be very honest about yourself, honest about why, what do you want, and what do you bring to the table. And those are the 3 things that you need to be. I don't think fancy language is needed. I don't think you've got to dream of narrating yourself as being already strong in business and that's why you should be selected. All that's not needed. I mean, you're a student, despite having experience, just be very frank, be very candid. And I think that should do the job.
Sure. Thank you, Anand. Bakshi?
So I think I would kind of tell 3 things here. One is your work experience. Second is your life experience. And third is your future aspirations. Keep all these 3 things in mind and know yourself very well from all 3 angles. From terms of work experience, know your work, know what difference you've made at your work, know that very well and be good at it. Life experience, go beyond your work, go beyond of what you've done professionally, because sometimes, it's just not about how good you are at your work. It's also about what life experiences you bring to the table. And to give you an instance, you'll have people in the class from army background, you'll have people in the class from defense, civil servants, etc., etc. Obviously, they're damn good at their job, but I'm sure they're not just selected for, being an army officer. They're selected for the life experiences that they've had. And it's enriching to kind of meet them and know them. And the third aspect is your future aspiration. Of course, I started saying, once you have answer to those 3 important questions of why, what, and where, I think you'll get answer to future aspirations as well, as to, why you're doing it and what you're going to get out of it. It might not be as crystal clear, but do have a thought around it. And yeah, bring that to your application. And just like Anand said, be honest, be true to yourself.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Bakshi. So now we will open up a Q&A. So what I request all the attendees to type your questions in the Q&A box. And I will be reading those questions, which is relevant for them. And I'll be asking any one of them these questions. Now, again, any questions related to program features, admissions, and all that, I will not be taking at least for the next 30 to 45 minutes. But any questions related to the experience or their learning or their experience or faculty interaction with the class, I will take those questions. And any questions other than that, I'll take up after that once the panelists leave, and program related features, I can answer that later on. So type your questions for the alumni, for the students here today, and I will be asking them from the Q&A box. Okay, so here's the one question that one attendee is asking. how you all managed to take 1 week leave from your organization in every 5 weeks time in alternate few weeks time. So yeah, maybe you talk about your experience of how did you break your news to your corporate, I mean, to your employer, and how did you get to the point that they were able to give you 1 week leave after every 4 to 5 weeks? Anyone?
We'll start. As I mentioned, I think you have to align your goals with your company. There is no way you can do this course without having that alignment. So, of course, we knew what we are getting into. So I talked to my manager and I said, how would I take this course, why it is important to me and all that. And they committed to that aspect. And once they have made that commitment, you need to be a bit flexible in the company to make sure that the 1 week that you're not there, you have the right people behind you who can do that work when you're not there. And then of course, when you come back, you have to take the extra load. But for me, it was not that difficult since I had an alignment with my organization in the beginning itself, and I made sure things are set up before and after when I come back. That was simple for me. Maybe if others too, you have any specific actions that you guys had to take?
Anand?
So for me, there wasn't a problem from work. I mean, our company encourages people, doing career development, taking these courses. But I guess most companies will be. I don't think any company will be restrictive, but the issue then becomes what you are in your current role and the intensity of work. My only suggestion is find a mentor in the company who understands the value of education and get him to back you if you have supervisory issues. That's a good way to work around the issue. I didn't have to do that. My immediate manager was very supportive. He's also an MBA grad from IIM Kolkata, so he understood the value I can bring back to the organization. So he completely supported this. But where you have issues, I would suggest to you to take this approach of finding someone senior in your organization who comes from a similar background, who's got the perspective of B school education, and he brings that in. Use him as a mentor to help you find the time from your company and work to join this program. Now, as much as it's been a problem, all my classmates were very worried about it in the very first week. We were together in the first week of April last year, but I guess nobody has ever missed a class. So you will find the rhythm, you will find the way, you will go do the extra bit of work in between the classes. You will have assignments, but you will sail through it. So I think it's in the head. It's not an issue. I mean, I don't think it will be an issue for many people. If you can find the support from the organization, a support from a leader in your company who realizes the value you're going to bring, and you mentally can think about saying, hey, I can manage this. If you're too attached to your work, you are half the problem. You have to detach yourself from work for the week, come to school, be immersed in learning, and forget about work. When you go back to work, you get completely immersed in work, and the program facilitates doing that in its on off nature.
Sure, thank you, Anand. Marjorie, you want to talk about your experience of getting that 1 week?
Yeah, so I think fortunately, because Vodafone also as a culture, they kind of encourage you to grow. It can be in terms of taking up a course or anything else. So they were pretty open to the idea. So I didn't have to try that hard from that angle. But yes, when it comes to actually aligning yourself in terms of work, right? Because you will not be there for, and sometimes even after you do have to kind of take exams, to submit assignments, do group projects, etc. So the story doesn't end once you're done with the course in the campus. You continue with it. The reading is on for a long time. So that is something that I had to align with at 3 levels, like with my team, first of all, and there were times initially I had to handhold them in the sense they obviously called me or mailed me, and I had to kind of take out time in between for 5-10 minutes to kind of get that going in the initial few weeks. And then I think later on it became very easy. Fortunately, my boss, she actually, in fact, was the one who kind of encouraged me to do this. When I shared my thought with her long back, almost like 3 years back, that I'm thinking of doing something like that. And I think she kind of persuaded me for it. So that way it was sorted. But it so happened in between, I like to share the story that, my boss who kind of encouraged me to do this actually kind of moved to another organization in between. And my boss then kind of changed. And that's when it came a time where I had to realign her, because obviously she was not used to this format. So that took a bit of time from my end to kind of, understand, help her understand that I won't be there. I won't be able to kind of, take your call as and when you want to. So that sometimes can happen. So, you have to be prepared for the unpreparedness.
Sure. Thank you, Bhagshri. Now, here's one question for Anand, and Samir has asked this question. So Samir asked, after doing few executive courses, what motivated you to do an MBA? Was there a real value add in other executive programs versus doing an MBA? Anand?
I think you're comparing apples and oranges. I'll be as simple as that, right? Executive programs that are offered for 4 days, 5 days are sort of training plus, I would say, a little bit more broad-based training plus, whereas an MBA program is education, and you have to learn to differentiate training from education. If you go to these 1 week programs, you don't have the rigor that you have in the MBA program, where you have to, you're tested, you've got assignments, you've got cases to work on, you've got to sit down after class and talk to your classmates and read through cases and understand the implications of what you learned. I think that's in executive programs, you don't have that much of a rigor. That's the first thing. And you've got to make a choice. When you need a business education, right? People think if I can go do a strategy program for 1 week at 150,000 cost at one of the premier institutes, I'll get recognized. Business doesn't work that way. What I said earlier is you being able to string together an economics concept with the marketing concept, with the strategy concept, with the finance concept is what is the holisticness of business, and that is offered only in an MBA program. So you've got to learn to differentiate why those programs exist. Those programs exist for, let's say, a guy in marketing and analytics is very new and he wants to understand analytics. That's good for him, taking a 1 week analytics module, or he getting into a job that requires strategic perspective. He doesn't want a business education, but he just wants some frameworks or concepts of how strategy is applied. So he goes for a strategy course. So if that was clear, comparing apples and oranges. I'm going to talk about the two programs. Both are equally important for different people, depending on what is your objective, what you're trying to serve. So hopefully that question is clear now. And I don't know the name of the person who asked it, but if he has any follow up, I'm more than happy to take that.
Yeah, he asked, the person who asked this question, Samir Lodha. He has that question, but yeah, if he wants to connect, Samir, you can reach out to me and I'll connect you with Anand later on, and you can have a one-to-one conversation with him. All right, so here is another question from Yaman. He asked this question for Bhagishri. He asks, as a marketing professional, what areas do you think help you better today in the job market compared as you move to senior roles in your career?
Oh, that's a heavy question, Yaman. Let me try and attempt that. So immediately, if you ask me, drastically change in the way I was doing it, or I'm expected to do it. So that definitely has not changed. But I'll tell you what has kind of value added in that sense, right? I gave you an example, like I'm currently working with, a gaming firm, which is like a startup, okay? And when you work in a startup, I've worked with Vodafone in the past, and Vodafone is a very, very huge organization. There are different functions which are working in silos, okay? And that's when I think the whole need of kind of understanding that happened. But when I joined a startup, there was no such demarcation between different functions, okay? A data science function to a product function to a retention to an acquisition to a marketing, we're all working very, very, very closely, okay? So now, unless I actually kind of understood what I studied, I would have definitely not been able to contribute at all if I didn't know all the things that they were talking about, right? So for example, all the experimentation that data science team kind of talks about, all the regressions that they do, all the, the research tools that they use. Now I get a sense of it now, thanks to ISB, PGPMAX. So now I know I'm part of the conversation. I know what are they talking about. I know I have a point of view on it. I'm able to contribute. Similarly, if you talk about the finance aspect of it, okay, so recently there was this conversation going about raising funds for the organization from turning into a unicorn, and you were part of that conversation, right? So all these things, I would not say are directly correlated to my work, but since the setup is such that I'm part of all these conversations, I'm not there sitting just trying to make sense out of it. I already kind of understand that. I'm now there kind of contributing, and I have a point of view. And so that's the difference that I've seen in my career, which probably and one thing again, Yaman, I would like to kind of tell you that I think most of the guys in the room would be very anxious of the fact that, oh God, Abhi, I want to finish this course and tomorrow I want to become like the next leader. That is not happening. It's a journey, and it is not something that is going to happen immediately as you kind of finish it. But what probably you'll hear from everybody around also, that eventually, a few years down the line, when you kind of take those steps towards being a leader in your organization, this will definitely come very, very handy, very handy. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Bhagishri. Now, I see a lot of questions, and again, I will be taking only those questions which the panelists can answer, and the questions that are not yet answered, I will be answering those questions later on. So if your questions I'm not picking it up, please hang on, please wait till the end. I will be picking those questions and answer those questions later on. But right now I'll be picking only those questions which panelists can answer. So here's one question for Prasad. Nilesh, maybe you can answer that. So PGPMAX, it's a Prasad asked that PGPMAX is a general management program, and how does it fit and help students from diverse backgrounds? So I mean, you yourself coming from pharma sector, maybe you can talk about your experience of how this general management program helped you in adding value to your organization.
I think what both of us have spoken for a while now on this type of topic, that the program is, you're right, it's a general one, but I think we need to look at what fits your requirement. And once you know what you need, for example, and to give you my example of pharma, I did not see that many people in my industry, in pharma industry, doing too many of MBA courses. And I was always trying to struggle to understand why was that. And when I took the MBA course, I started to realize some aspect of it. In our industry, a lot of focus has been given to technical knowledge. And that's why I also did my PhD, so that I can get into, understand the core business aspect, core technical aspect of why the product is manufactured, why it is required for customers and all that part of it. And as you go up the organization, many times people have a difficulty to transition from this technical strong background to a very much business type of mindset, and to say what we need to leave, what we should not consider in our analysis, where we should take the decisions on what is required or what is not required. So what happened when I took this course, and as Anand and Bhagishri also mentioned, there are many facets of the business, economics, finance, accounting, everything you will learn on it. But you need to pick up things that are more relevant to your own industry and to your own job. For example, marketing is not my area that I really work today on. But now today I know how the marketing aspects of the pharma business is happening. I may not be working on that area, but today with the knowledge that I have gained from this cross learning from the marketing, and when I'm launching my products, I will just not rely on the marketing guy telling me how he's going to do the marketing aspect of this product. I'm going to ask him the right question. And I think from this course, what I felt is that, because now I am not an expert in marketing, but when the guy tells me that I'm going to position my product into this type of thing, I'm going to segment is like this. In the past, I would be looking here and there. What does a segment means? What does the positioning means? I did not really understand that. But now after 10 terms in this course, I can tell you in the night what positioning and segmentation is. So I can ask the right question when this guy is after me, and I can, and in that case, what happens, there are two things happens on that one. They truly start to respect you. They see that you know things that are not only in your domain of technical part of it, but you also know aspect of marketing. And second, you feel more confident. Now you're not just relying on someone on that area who's not in your core area of marketing. You're more confident that these guys are doing the right job, and you can be, as a lead of that project, you can be a bit more confident. So I think this that's why this general aspect does help everyone, not just for the specific project industry.
And Anand, just to add to that, I think, Prasad, the beauty of the course is also that we are from diverse backgrounds. That people in the class, like we were 30 of us, and with different backgrounds, That's the beauty of it, actually, because the kind of perspective sometimes you don't have and you can't think from that angle, somebody brings to the table in the class while discussing. So I think that's just like a boon, for the course and people from different backgrounds who are thinking that, does it make sense for me? I would say, yeah, it does. It definitely does.
Let me add one more thing, right? I actually created a bingo board of different industries, mining, automotive, pharma, advertising, consulting, etc. And all the cases that you go through in the different cohorts, I've actually filled the bingo board about 3 times for some of the core industries and twice for the other. That's the beauty of this program, right? I mean, you would not get to understand information about how another industry works sitting in your work, in your office space and talking to your bosses or subordinates or your co-workers. You need to get out to this kind of an environment where you've got people, professionals from other industries and have different perspectives of making same people or marketing decisions. And number two, the cases, they kind of stimulate a lot of data and information about how businesses run, what's critical for the automotive industry, what's critical for the consumer industry, what's critical for the food industry. All these aspects come out very clearly in different cases in strategy, finance, or whatever we've done. So you will learn, very broadly and very deeply in each of these verticals through various aspects of the course.
Sure. Thank you, Anand, Nilesh, and Bakshi. Anand, here's a question for you from Vijaya Shanti, and she's asking that coming from automotive industry, she would like to know from Anand. In the last 1 year, while you were doing this course, can you give us examples on daily application of what you are learning in your work?
Okay. I'll just give you what I'm currently doing. I am trying to help the industry leapfrog and digitally transform itself, our suppliers. Technology is impacting every industry, and my role involves getting our suppliers to embrace this technology, right? Traditionally, as a customer, as an automotive, we have a huge amount of leverage with suppliers. It would have been brute force negotiations with suppliers prior to doing the MBA. But now it's a little bit more tactical in understanding why are these suppliers got to digitally transform themselves? What is the financial impact? What is the risk to them if they make an and the benefits don't pay off? What's the risk to us? How do you collaborate? Now, the business understanding has helped me drive my work in a much more, business-friendly fashion that CEOs of our supplier companies have come back to purchasing leaders and said, typically, we've not seen this from your supplier management division, but this time around, it's been really collaborative and it's been win-win. And we are getting a lot of insights about how to do this and succeed with technology and working with Anand and stuff like that, right? So there's plenty. There is plenty that I'm able to take back. The whole thing that you need to understand is, no matter what industry you are in, if you think of job as a task, you're going to be at a lazy. If you think of a job as creating value for your company, the business education will drive that mindset. And there's a huge difference between you going in, doing your objectives, doing your tasks versus thinking about how can I create value for my organization. And you would be so much more empowered. And I'd speak for other industries well, because I've heard this from my classmates, the value creation aspect and trying to apply the concepts back at your work. It's so powerful. You get recognition from your immediate leaders, you get recognition from your business owners, and that's the beauty of what a quality MBA will do for you.
Sure. Sure. Thank you, Anand. Here's one question, an interesting question. Maybe Bakshi or Nilesh, anyone, can you answer? Now, this person asked, I've been in IT industry for the last 23 years, and like Anand said, he's interested to get holistic knowledge to take leadership roles or start my entrepreneurship journey. He wants to take a break from his job and do this program. Is this a good idea to do now? should somebody take a break from their job and do this program? Or do you think one can take maximum benefit by just continuing working and then, do this program?
I'll let Bhagyashree start on this one.
Yeah, sorry, who asked this question? What's the name of the
It's
person?
anonymous attendee. He has not given his
Okay,
name.
no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, Anonymous. Firstly, I think it'll be very, unfair on my part to kind of answer this question for you because, I don't really have a complete context to it. And I think I know people who have kind of taken break and done this. I also know people who have not taken break and done this, and it's worked out beautifully for both of them. So it's a very it's a very individual thing, I would say. But nonetheless, if you ask me, if you're thinking that doing it with the job is going to be very challenging, and that's why you want to take a break, then I think I would not recommend that. Because though it is very difficult, but it's not like it's doable. You will get the hang of it. So stick around, you'll get it. But if you're thinking of kind of taking a break, doing this course, and getting into your entrepreneurial journey, then I don't think so you need to even wait for this course to kind of finish. You can start your entrepreneurial journey while the course is happening, and you'd realize that when you're kind of doing that. I know a lot of people who have started their entrepreneurial journey while the course was going on, and that's something they never thought of before they started the course. So it'll open up a lot of mental stimulation in that sense, and it'll help you kind of understand if you're getting in the right direction. Do you need to change some bit? And not just being in the class, I think the profs are also very helpful. Like if you want to kind of seek advice from them, they're there for you. From ISB, if you need any kind of extra support in terms of for your entrepreneurial journey. So from that angle, yeah, I mean you'll get the support. But like again, I'm telling you, it's not fair on my part to answer that for you. That's what I feel. Maybe
The only thing I think Bhagyashree is exactly what I was going to mention. That I think every person is different, and whether you make a decision to leave today and jump on PGPMAX course and then look for entrepreneurship, it may be a right decision, maybe because you may have a solid background in terms of both financially, but also you have a clear understanding of what is your business objectives are. So maybe since you know what your product is, maybe you can utilize the PGPMAX to do that. But to make a decision just because the course is very broad and you don't think the time will be there to do both at the same time, it's not the right decision to be done on that. So for that case, we would say that you stay with the course, do what you're doing today, and then see the interview. The second part is about the networking aspect of PGPMAX, and I think partially we actually mentioned that as you join the course and the class, what you will see is that if you know which area you want to go into, during this term, even if it's going on, you are part of the program, you're part of the ISB, so you will start to get mentorship, you'll start to get, but you need to know whom you want to contact, you need to know which industries you want to be discussing with. There's so many options there, right? So if you just come up saying that I want to find a business, that will be a bit difficult. And I think what you will learn in PGPMAX, you will grow yourself into this learning in few years from time. It's not like you learn this 15, 20, 12 terms and you'll become an expert in the corporate strategy or something like that. What will happen, you'll get all the tools with your hand. And as you start your business, you will start to utilize these tools and you'll become an expert on this as you go along. So leaving it just because you'll become an expert in this one will not be the right one. But if you have a product and you think that you're ready to start that and then you start this journey, it's a personal decision for it. And definitely in the ISB and PGPMAX, you'll have a lot of alumni and a lot of people who can guide you in the coming days when you join it.
Sure. Thank you, Nilesh. Thank you, Bhagyashree. Now here's another question from Prasad, and he's asking that, so basically in PGPMAX, a lot of people come who have been away from studies for a long, long time. Average work experience for class 16 years. So they have not been part of academics for a long time. So this person, Prasad, is asking that, are there any course or topics that one should be aware before joining that will benefit participants during the PGPMAX program? So do you think there's a need for knowing any particular course or topics before they decide to
Yeah.
class
I
at
think
PGPMAX?
you'll have to attend some 10 tutorials on YouTube, and Anand will recommend some 5 books to you, which you have to read. Just joking, guys. I personally feel you don't have to worry so much. Don't worry. ISB will give you some free reads. They also give you some kind of tutorials for you to get some basic concepts in place. So I would just, all the guys who are, engineering background or non-science background or very diverse background who've never done this before or no corporate background, I would just kind of say one thing to you. Just open your seat belts. The pilot is safe on the plane. It's a safe ride. You will enjoy it. Take the plunge if you have to. And don't worry, will you be able to do it, not do it? You'll definitely be able to do it. So yeah, trust
I'll
us in
give
that.
you another funny side of this, right? Everybody is going to be, there's I would say six verticals to the entire course: finance, accounts, economics, strategy, marketing, operations, leadership, or however you want to break this up. No matter what you are good at, there's one you are going to really struggle through because this is not your core competence. Okay. And I think if you understand that, and if you want to do any pre-reading to use yourself, I would recommend you to do that. So if you come from an accounts background, trying to brush up a little bit of statistics, what is mean, median, and all those kind of stuff will help you. If you come from an engineering background, you would have done that in your engineering degree. Try and understand what is debits, credits, what is debt, and what is equity. Some of the basics of finance. That would help you get a head start so that the first day of a module, you're not completely lost. So that is an advice I'd give you. No amount of reading and learning is harmful to you. I'll vouch for that. I spend a considerable amount of my time. But that said, there's going to be for every course, right? The reason why you've got 5 weeks between each course is you will do about 20% of the learning as self-learning yourself with pre-reading material that every professor will send to you, and you have to equip yourself because it is an expectation that you have that basic knowledge when you come into class, because the professor is not going to take very, very basic concepts of what is debit and credit. I mean, he would assume that you've done the pre-reading, and when you come into class and you're able to pick up and grasp and do that, because you will never be able to complete this in any program by starting from ground zero of any discipline. So long and short of it, you don't need to go and overwork yourself. Some amount of YouTubing, and I know there's a lot of knowledge sites will help you get a good head start. And no amount of doing that. I mean, now you'll always find one module or two modules, your Achilles heel. You will not be comfortable with it, and that's the reality of the program. And I think each one of our classmates had one such module which cost them some amount of extra learning to do.
But also, Narottam, I think we still provide that Harvard courses, right? The first,
Yes.
although many of us probably did not do all the courses, we know that. But I think, as I was saying, maybe from that Harvard courses, you could select the ones that you're not good at, and like accounting or something like that, which will help definitely a kickstart for the courses to start. But just follow the pre-reads, just doing the Harvard courses, I think is more than enough.
Yeah, I think and profs also very supportive that
Yes.
case. Like, you'll never feel if you ask them basic question, or if you kind of stay back and ask them some question that you're not very clear with, they're always very supportive of the idea. They will never tell you that, you should have done this and you should know this. It's fine to kind of take you through this again. So, yeah.
Sure. So there's a lot of questions people are asking, and the question related to how you have been able to apply the knowledge in your current role. Now, I know Anand has answered that question. Maybe Nilesh, actually, maybe you covered, for example, any particular project where you have been working in your current organization, and how you have taken the learning from this program and applied into your current.
Both Nilesh and I also kind of shared this already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I said, I think this is a question how people are why people are asking this question. I'll give you some numbers, and you can make some inferences, right? Some of the greatest business leaders have had formal business education. Okay, let's put it that way. And you also have a few who don't, but business naturally comes to them. So does it help? Of course it helps. I mean, And there's been, I mean, this is a lot of people seek MBA programs and from reputed institutes. Why? Purely because these programs are tailored to give you the right frameworks to make, run businesses. Now, I'll also say this: just by doing the course, you would not become a Mukesh Ambani equivalent the next morning, right? You're not going to create $100 billion enterprise overnight. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take you to apply this. And that's when you will learn and you will get through the whole course. The typical pitfall is people enter this course thinking that as soon as I get the course, I'm going to get a new job and I'm going to get 10x salary and I'm going to become a CEO. That's a pitfall you should not create for yourself. You're putting undue expectation and that's not realistic. What you will walk away with is great depth in how businesses are run, how you can stand out from your peers at work who don't have a business degree or don't have one from a reputed institution. And I'll tell you, I can feel the difference in myself from 15 months ago to now, that I'm able to articulate arguments with my management, why to invest, why not to invest, why to take certain strategic path much better, have a better dialogue with some of our very senior global leaders. I speak to vice presidents in my company much better, much more confidently, right? I would not have been able to do this without the comprehensive knowledge that I gained in the last 15 months. And that's the big difference a program does to you. And be realistic in what you expect out of an MBA program. Don't come here saying I do this and I become the next Mukesh Ambani or Damani for creating a D-Mart or somebody like that. It'll take its time, but you are going to be best equipped with the right kind of knowledge and to apply at your work. And we could connect you to all 35 of our class, and I think 100% of our class will give you that answers. There's a lot of application in the daily work. It is every day, it's every instance. You will get a completely different spark in your mind to think about your job. And as I said, this is a simple thing. I used to think of my job as a task. Now I think of how do I create value. That in itself is a huge leap up that you will find that you are, several strata above your peer group in your organizations once you finish this program.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you. Here's one very interesting question, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to know the answer of this question. So, and of course, give a very honest opinion of the question there. So, Thiru is asking this question. He's saying that before you joined the PGPMAX at ISB, you had your expectations and future aspirations with the course. And now you guys are about to finish the course. And what do you see now as your expectations before the course and after the course? I mean, what is the gap between hope versus reality? Any one of you can answer that question.
Okay, I'll go actually first because I'll tell you, like I mentioned, my hope or my future aspiration was not something that I was seeking for immediate return. I knew that, what I'm doing right now, I should continue doing that. But I know 5 years down the line, I would be expected to know about other aspects of the business. Okay. Now, what's one way of going about it is within the organization, you kind of shift from one department, one function to another, and then you can continue for next 10 years, okay, till you get like complete understanding of different aspects. The other way of kind of going about it is, taking up a course like this, which gives you that kind of perspective that I definitely didn't have earlier. Okay. So, for example, right now, like I was completely focused on, the marketing aspect of the business. Okay. And this course actually touched upon marketing like maybe twice. And everything else was mostly kind of finance or, the strat part of it, or some bit of accounting, etc. That's something I was definitely not aware of. But I took that conscious call from the beginning itself that that's something I want to learn. I would not need it right away, but I know I need it 5 years down the line. So in terms of hope versus reality, I think I hope to kind of get that perspective. And in terms of reality, I did get that perspective. In terms of whatever this is going to turn through 5 years down the line, keep in touch. Maybe it will, and we'll know. will know when a job demands me to kind of talk about the other aspects of the business also. But I'm really hoping so that it'll be an easier path for me than what it is right now.
Just to add to Bhageshi, I think in terms of course itself, like what I was expecting when I joined PGPMAX and what today I feel about it. Frankly, I have not done previous MBA courses or neither very big management programs or things like that. So definitely everyone will have a different visualization of what they are expecting in the class, you know, and maybe you'll be thinking in the class that the level of education would be very difficult, or maybe the professors would be top level. You know, everyone will bring their own what do you call forecast of what could be happening in the class. Today, the reality is very, very different than what I had thought. And the reason why it is because I did not have the experience of a management courses in the past. So I was just making up my reality of what could be in the classroom. But when I look at today, after close to 15 months, I'm very happy with what I had. I'm glad that what I was thinking is not true actually, because the diverse class members, you don't know them, right, until you start the class. And when I see in the class the different backgrounds of people that are there and the questions they ask, it's tangential to what I am thinking. And in the beginning, sometimes I feel, why this guy is asking this question? And then you're like, oh, okay, that's why. So then you keep quiet, you know, like, so this open, your mind is completely open with these discussions in the class that we have. So I don't think, I would say PGPMAX, at the beginning, I had some view of how it should be and whether it is the same today or not. It is definitely not the same. It is different, but this different is good for me. I felt that I have learned a lot. The course has been designed very in detail, linking each and every aspect of it. And as Anand mentioned, you need to cross-link all this knowledge in order to become the better person in the future. And that's what I think I've been able to do it after 15 months. So glad it is not what I was thinking in the starting, but it is much better than that. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Nilesh. Now, I know Anand has to leave by 5:45 p.m. So here's one. I mean, there's no question for Anand, but let me see if there's a particular question for Anand. I can ask him that question. Otherwise, okay. Doesn't look like any question for Anand. So Anand, before you leave, you may have certain things that you want to share, and maybe I have not asked those questions, or maybe you did not get any question from the audience. You have anything that you want to share before you leave, or something you wanted to say, but that question has not come up?
Okay,
Anything
so
I
was just cursing through the questions as I'm reading them in the Q&A box, and I'll probably pick on one question and try and answer this. This was why, which is better, IAM or ISB? There are other equally repeated institutes at 1/3 the cost. Isn't this too high, and all that kind of stuff? And I'll just give you my perspective on this, right? Again, you've got to understand what is the difference between one institute versus another. ISB in particular is a more globally oriented program where most of the professors come from international colleges. The cases, the learning, the fundamentals are more global. Whereas what I have learned is IAM is a little bit more India centric. So that's one big difference that ISB brings. The second thing is the kind of students that come to ISB versus the kind of students who come to IAM are going to be very different. There is one aspect about B schools. I don't know if you've seen this website called Poets and Quants. Some schools are very quantitative. I think the IAMs are more quantitative oriented, you know, deriving formulas and other things, whereas ISB caters more towards, you know, is somewhere in between Poets and Quants, is more thought provocative, application oriented. How do you apply this as opposed to how do you memorize a formula, or how do you you know, create a formula for a unique situation? So I think that's what you need to be trying to see, and every individual's need will be different. Again, great institutions that you're comparing ISB to, but ISB has got its unique perspective. You will be vastly satisfied, you will be vastly surprised, and you will be a much more holistic professional at the end of 15 months of an MBA program, doing this kind of a module. So that's my key feedback. If those of you who are on the fence, I would say take the plunge. If you're able to afford it, find the time. It'll be the best decision of your life. Okay. Now I do have to leave, so I'm going to drop off now. If anyone has any questions, you can send them through Narottam to me, or if you want to find me on LinkedIn, you're happy to contact, happy to take your question, take your calls, and answer any one of them. All right. Thanks, Narottam. With that, I'll wrap up, and it was great to be talking to the prospective 2021 class.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you for sharing your time and giving your insights. I'm sure a lot of our attendees would have got a lot of insights from your talk. So thank you once again. And yeah, you can leave and have a great weekend.
Thanks, Anand.
All right. So for Nilesh and Vakshri, we'll take another 15 minutes and then you can also wrap up. So Fazal is asking a question. Now, Fazal, the kind of question that you're asking, I can answer those questions, but I will answer those questions after, not now, because I just want to use our panelist time as much as kind of question you're asking. I can answer those questions, but I don't want to answer right now. Let panelists answer those questions, which is directed to them, and then I'll answer your questions later on. Okay, do you want to talk about, Nilesh, about your interview experience, like prepare for it? Nilesh, Vakshri?
Okay. So if I'll start, then maybe Vakshri can add.
Yeah.
So since I'm the sequence first one, so I'll just start. So in terms of interview, definitely, I did not do any research on the interview or something. And I think what others we have mentioned earlier, you need to know what about you more than anyone else, right? So you have to do some research on your side, so that in the questions analysts, the questions are asking, some of them are ex-alumni from the ISB one, and they make you feel comfortable, first of all. They did not ever make you feel that by asking questions that were not relevant and trying to, make you uncomfortable. So I think for me personally, it went very well. Of course, that's why I got the admission. But also, what the question they were asking was relevant to what I was doing and how I was going to add value to the PGPMAX program, and which I was very confident on. So whatever I had written in my application, you need to be very, very clear on that. If you write something in your application that you are not going to be able to provide them the information, they will catch it very fast, because they will pick things from your application that they would like to know. If you have written that I was a sales and I did this much of target, 100 crore target or something, they're going to go deeper into it. And these guys are alumni also, but they're also in the top of the organization. So they know what they're looking for. They're going to ask you questions. For example, one typical question that was asked about the union part, because I do work with a lot of union aspect, and many people try to write it in their application. So they went into the deeper, how do I negotiate with some of the employees and other aspects. So whatever you write in the application, be very, very thorough about it. Get all the background information that you can. If something that you are not aware of it, please say, I'm not an expert in this area, and that's the reason I do not know about it. And I think they appreciate that your honesty about what you do not know, because not everyone knows everything. And I think the interview will go smooth. Bhageshri?
Yeah, I think just to add to that, actually my interview was hardly about my work. It was actually about things I love. And I had written about my love for adventure sports, and I'd written about my love for, dogs. And, almost half an hour of conversation was about that. Now, the reason, you might be thinking, why would somebody talk about adventure sports and love for dogs? Because they actually, like Nilesh said, they genuinely want to see through you. They want to see if you really believe in what you've written. Do you believe in what you're saying? And they will talk to you about the same topic for next half an hour to ensure that you've not written things for the heck of it, just to make it sound fancy, or you're not saying something you don't believe in just because somebody else has asked you to write that, that as an answer. So yeah, that's something you should not do. So don't just, like I told you, your work experience, your life experience, and your future aspiration. Be very clear about it. Whatever you write, you need to believe in it. And yeah, that's very important. So yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Vakshri. Now, here's one question Rahul Verma is asking. He's asking that it's a diverse class with students having vast experience and have been leading team. Was it challenging for you people to work in study groups? If yes, do you want to share any tips how to manage that studying in our study group?
Definitely, I think we have a lot of cases where you will, when the teams are announced at the beginning of the first class, they tell you who will be for this term, who will be part of your team. You definitely look for people whom you get along with well, and some you will not. But I think that's not the point, and I think the reason that you have a diverse crowd is what will make you become a better manager, become a better team player in the long term. Definitely in your team there will be people who may not have any idea about accounts, for example, and they're part of your team. So you need to understand that since they're part of your team, you need to take them together. And when you take them together, you learn many lessons of life, and as I think Anand mentioned before he left, that there will be courses where you are not an expert. So they will be feeling that, okay, this guy doesn't add value to it, but he'll be with you. So I think it's a way that you all will have that experience where you'll be in a moment where you don't contribute that much, but the other guy, but you also will have a time when you are contributing a lot with others. But remember, you need to take the team. It is exactly what happens to your workplace. At your workplace, you get a team. You work with a team where all of them are not at the highest level at every topic that you're working with. So I think we did have a lot of long nights, to be fair and open, where we were stuck with arguments. We do have a long chats and long arguments, and it goes way up to sometimes 11, 12 o'clock in the night. But at the end of the day, when we finish the course, we get to learn a lot from each other, and I think that's also one of the experiences I can tell you will never forget from this PGPMAX. Bhagyashree?
Yeah, I think two parts to it. One, sometimes there are some subjects which are very difficult. Okay, honestly, you really struggle with it. Okay, and then you like hope and pray that you get somebody in your group who just understands this damn well. Okay, so you don't have to kind of break your heads too much. Okay, so and your groups actually rotate, guys, so it's not like every term you'll have a new group, and eventually the idea behind is that you get to work with everybody, and you get to kind of network with everybody and get some knowledge from them and exchange some ideas. So that's what is going to happen. So every time you'll not be like, this is the group I want. There'll be times when you'll get a group you'll be like, damn, this is not what I want. And there'll be times when you'll get a group where like, perfect, yeah, this is what I wanted. So in all kind of situation, I think, yeah, like Niresh was saying, it's pretty much like your work, right? Sometimes you don't choose the team that you're going to be a part of. Sometimes you get to choose the team that you're going to be a part of. So you have to be prepared for both the situations. I think fortunately, at least, within our class and whatever we talk to our seniors as well, I think, you'll always find people who are like, okay to kind of deal with it. Nobody is so headstrong that, he or she is going to throw tantrum of, I'm not going to do this for you. You should know this. I mean, pretty much everybody is very helpful in that sense. Everybody kind of is ready to extend that extra help that is needed to help the other person. And we all understand that, none of us know everything. There'll be a moment when I will know better than the other person, and there'll be a moment the other person will know better than me. So I think that way is the equation within the class was pretty okay, and this group thing worked. And especially, I think, see, when you're in the campus and you have group activities, it's still easier because you are in the campus together. But sometimes it does happen that you outside the campus and you have to do group activities together because some assignments are given when you're back home. And that's when sometimes obviously it's a struggle because you are back into your lives, your work, personal life, etc. So coordinating and finding time with each other also requires you to adjust at some level, like, because coming to one point where everybody is going to be available at that point in time will be difficult. So sometimes you will have to adjust, sometimes the other person has to adjust. But I think it's fine. It's fine. I think a little more challenging when you're back from the campus, little less challenging when you're in the campus. Yeah.
Sure, thank you, Ashri. Here's a question from Ashish Takshali, and he's asked, maybe Nilesh, you can answer that. How much of the course in percentage terms is taught by professors of foreign business schools? So what was your percentage of courses taught by foreign business schools professors?
Okay, you mean from outside ISB, right?
Yes, outside ISB.
So if I remember, till now, I think even if you take the next two courses, the 11th term, So for 11th term, and if the 12th term is in autumn, so assuming that 2 of the professors will be there, I would say 25% of the professors would be from ISB at the end, and around 75% would be, or 70% would be from the foreign schools.
Sure. Thank
Bhageshri,
you.
I'm right? Approximate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Six, I think 5 or 6 professors are from ISB, and all the remaining ones were from outside.
Yeah.
All right. So now, again, for you, since you have to leave, Bhageshri, maybe you want to say something again, something which is not.
Some really interesting question that I saw. I think one
Sure.
is for Nilesh from Suraj Bhansali. Nilesh also is a PhD, and I think he wants to ask you a lot of questions. Should I read it for you if you can't see the question?
Yep. Okay, I've not seen it. No. Go ahead, Bhageshri.
Okay. So it says, Nilesh, glad to hear your experience. I also earned a PhD in pharma and worked as a scientist in the US. Couple of years ago, moved in business leader role in India. Currently managing teams, projects, strategy, operations, P&L. Lot of learning on the job and doing well overall. However, the perception is that a scientist may not understand business so well. Does this course really help learn new things, and how would you help make a case as a business leader to move further in the field?
Thanks, Bhageshri. And I'll tell you, as I started in my background, I think we both have a very common pathway.
Yeah.
Actually, I did my PhD and working in North America, mainly in Canada, and a few years in US. But then I moved to India about 5 years back when our company took over a smaller company in India, and I took a lead role in that organization. So when I came here, you're exactly right. As you go up the ladder in a pharma business, it does occur that some of the points that you are saying, as I give an example about marketing, today I lead a new, I'm a global project head for Sanofi in India. So there's a new vaccines that are coming up. So I'm the lead for that. So I do look for the development, also the commercialization part of it. So when we discuss with the marketing people, or when we discuss with the strategy of the project positioning and other things, I think if I only had a PhD degree, and definitely there'll be a perception that I may not know various aspects of it. So I think by getting an MBA degree, I do get that jump start. So for example, now when I ask questions, of course I don't have the degree yet, but they know, many of my colleagues know that I am at ISB. So when I'm asking questions, many have come back and told me that they see a difference in the way I'm asking the question compared to before. And this, you will see that, and they will start respecting you that, oh, now this guy knows it. Now this guy, so I think definitely, if you are going towards a management role in a pharma, you definitely need to have this. Any MBA, not necessarily I'm saying ISB, but some level of a holistic program that gives you an idea about various aspects of business, not just one. And then you have to take the different learning from each of them and combine that to your position that you are in. Again, as Anand mentioned, I'm open if you would like to connect even after the call. You can definitely do it through LinkedIn, or my email address, Narottam has it in here. And you can connect, and I can help you or give you some additional information on my journey, how I came into a PGPMAX.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Nilesh. Bhageshri, do you want to pick any questions that is there?
Yeah. So I was just trying to scroll through some of the questions, and I was just trying to kind of, categorize them so that we answer maybe by answering one. So I think one question that I also kind of resonate with. So when I started, when I started thinking of doing a course or studying further, I had close to 9.5 years of experience. Okay. And I think a lot of you kind of asking that question, that should we do Max or should we do PGP, or, it's full-time better, or what's an executive program, and, do people understand executive MBA, etc., etc. So I'm just kind of summing up all these questions in one bucket, and I'm trying to answer that. And Nilesh, please add. So when I kind of started, I had a similar question in my head, right? Because firstly, it's the perception. Everybody who I kind of spoke to, I told them that I'm planning to study further, and then everybody's like, don't do this executive program. Why don't you go for a full-time program? Do 1 year, ye mat karo. And then I was like, okay, I mean, it's good to hear people's opinion, but I think it's important to understand what you want to do. So what I did was, then I kind of met few people who had done this course, okay, and I spoke to few of them. And you know what, and that completely gave me clarity, and I would kind of help you understand that as well, that what really happens in a PGP kind of course or a 1-year full-time kind of course. I think it's great to do. You have 3 years, 4 years, at max 5 years of experience. Firstly, because you know the work experience that you have is not very high, and because the kind of course curriculum that's there, you know, it's more on a basic level to kind of get your fundamentals in place. And when you kind of do a course like this, which is an executive MBA course, you know, you already are coming with 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of experience. The kind of case studies that you do, the kind of, you know, profs, the way they're going to teach you, the concepts that are going to be discussed in the class are very different, very different. And trust me, after 10 years, 15 years, you think of doing 1 year full time, you'll not be satisfied with it because of the kind of course content and the conversation and the people in the class with those experiences. So that's why, you know, be very clear that, okay, don't be confused between this full time and executive MBA, very different kind of courses. So executive MBA works very well for people with, you know, higher experiences, and that's why ISB has structured it like that. And it just makes a lot of sense. The second part of it is, you know, what you guys were talking about is, you know, do people understand this executive MBA? People understand that many, you know, is it equivalent to doing an MBA, or people have this perception that full time nahi hai, part time hai, all that, right? See, first of all, I would say that, you know, when I'm doing this course, firstly, people who are doing this course should not shy away from it. It's an executive MBA course. Let's not dilute it with doing a full-time course and PGP course or whatever. So firstly, you need to be very confident about it, because if you are not confident about it, forget about other people being confident about it. The second aspect of it is people who understand. See, executive MBA as a thing in India is not very old. It's picking up. Whereas internationally, obviously, it's, you know, it's been there for some time. So in India, obviously, it requires some kind of awareness, so to say, you know, in a lot of people around you. But honestly, when I started doing the course and I met people in my workplace and I started talking to them and about discussing stuff with them, and then they started valuing this a lot more. And they said, "Yeah, kaun sa course kiya hai?" And then I said, "I've done this executive MBA, PGPMAX." They're like, "Yeah, it's nice. Can you tell me more about it?" You know, so that's second aspect of it. And the third aspect of it is, of course, you know, people who are aware of it, people who know what ISB is, people who know the kind of courses, you know, you do from that organization. You definitely don't need to kind of convince them about it. And people who don't understand and, you know, are anyways with that mindset ki yaar chodo ye full time nahi hai, don't bother about it. So that's what I would kind of say, and I hope I kind of answer a lot of those questions around, you know, should I do this? It's an executive, not full time, blah blah blah. So yeah, all that. And Nilesh, please add. I mean,
I think you summarized it well, Bhageshri. And I think just to add, because we only have 1 minute, I would only add that what one of the professors in the class mentioned, that, you know, many times we come to these courses, as we said, to learn new things, right? But remember that it's also about de-learning things. And this is something that is the difficult than learning, actually, because if you do not come to these courses, and I'm trying to answer one of the questions, I think from Kirti Chandra, about what personal quality do you think a student must have to cultivate or large enough qualities to get the most of PGPMAX. Please come with an open mind if you get to join the course, and you will see that you need to de-learn many things. You have perceptions that have built through 20 years or 30 years of experience that you may have, but this needs to be changed, because if you want to learn new things, you need to take out the old ones, de-learn them, and then only you will be getting the max out of this PGPMAX. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you.
yeah, and I think one important question that everybody's asking is ISB versus IM. I think somewhere Anand picked it up. But I think, guys, you know, Google it for yourself. Who's got the #1 rank in India? Google it for yourself. Who's #1 in 11 in Asia? Google it for yourself. Who's better ranked in Financial Times versus others? So, and there's a reason for that, right? So I kind of leave it there to kind of answer that question.
Thank you.
All right. No, that was brilliant. Thank you, Bakshi, and thank you, Nilesh. Your honest assessment or your honest opinion really helped. I'm sure it would have helped our participants a lot in taking an informed decision. So thank you very much for your time. And yeah, I mean, thank you for giving us your weekend and sharing your 1.5 hours with us. It really helped. It would have helped our attendees a lot in making up their mind. So thank you. And yeah, I look forward to catching up with you when you're at campus.
Yeah. And guys,
you.
you can speak to us through LinkedIn. You can take our email IDs from Narottam, or you can send in the questions. Please feel free. Yeah, and all the best. Kill it. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to miss it once it's done. And you're going to have a time of your life, and trust us on that.
Yes, agree. Thank you all. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So I will be here now. Whichever questions were not answered, I will be there to answer as many questions as possible. So I will not be leaving till the time you have all the questions answered. So let me do one thing. Now you can raise your hand, and what I will do, I will allow you to talk, and you can ask me those questions right away over there. So then I can try to answer those questions there itself. Okay, Faisal, let me unmute you. So now you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question, and I'll answer those questions.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thanks. I forgot what all questions I asked. let me go back to the.
Okay.
Oh, where do I see that again?
In the Q&A box.
Okay, in the Q&A box.
Yeah.
Okay. No, one of the things that I was wondering was in the last years, the Supreme Court has given a verdict that now, say IIMs, they conduct 2-year score and they can give degree. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously the degree has I would not say a greater value, but a degree is a degree. Even if you go outside, a degree is counted as the education +2. So is there something that is also being considered for this? I mean, if you can make 15 months to some few more months, you might get a degree. Has it been tried?
No, so IIMs, what they have, so their 2 years program, yes, it's called MBA degree, but they had 1 year program, and even their IIM Ahmedabad does not have a executive MBA, but IIM Bangalore has a executive MBA, but even they are not, only their 2 year program is called degree, and the rest of the program is just a certificate program. That's just like ISB is offering. So yeah, if you need a degree, then you have to do this full time 2 years MBA program, and that's what like FMS give degree. Or IIM Ahmedabad gives degree.
Problem is for that program, for people above 15 years, you again recommend that you go for PGPMAX. So you are in a catch-22 situation.
No, so I'm saying if you want to do a degree, if you want to take a degree, then you have option of doing a 2 year MBA program. That's when you get a degree, right? But that 2 year MBA program, very limited option for you, because IIM Ahmedabad has this MIM, or IIM Bangalore has MBA program. But
do I have permission to ask one more question, or you want to go to other?
Absolutely. Yeah, ask me.
One of the interesting things I see is, which is a great marketing this thing, is there a lot of good profiles and designations, the president and general managers of this and that. Are those people in that position as a direct result of doing this program, or they were the ones that joining at the time of joining the program?
So they're both. Yeah, they're both. So in a class, typically 20-25% people are from the CXO level. Enter as a CXO of a particular organization. And once they graduate, then people move up and they become CXO and all that. It's a result of both people coming. We have CXO people coming in the classroom and they remain CXO. People who come in at, let's say, AVP or VP level, and they become CXO after graduating from the program. So it's both.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll do one thing, Narottam. I'll have to let the rest of the participants also. I'll connect with you offline.
Absolutely,
thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anand, I have allowed you to talk. You can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yeah, hi Narottam. Thanks for this session. This was first. So I am one of those who is evaluating between 1 year program versus 1 year full time versus this. While I also have about over 13 years of experience. So the only thing that 1 year program attracts me, while the cost wise basis it will be more costly because I'll have to leave a very high paid job for a year, but then that attracts because because of the fact that it will provide me a placement, and after doing certain number of year of experience, the monotony sinks in, etc., etc. While it was good to upskill, upgrade, and all the format which whatever you guys have have created is amazing, because within India, sitting in India, here you get an exposure of about 70% of the course, like the way Nilesh and Bhagishri was saying, 70% of the courses is being taught by the renowned professor from UCLA and Kellogg, etc. How are you guys supporting people who are really, so while obviously I understand most of the people will be joining while they are in job, but even after the job they would want to say change their career in terms of moving into different organization, etc. Is there any support?
Yes, yes. So from this year, we have started offering career service support to PGPMAX students also. So let me talk about what do we offer under career service support. So basically, see, in a full-time program, you have this placement service where if you decide to do a full-time MBA, where their companies come on campus and they interview and they give job offers to full-time MBA students. In executive MBA like PGPMAX or PG Pro, there's no placement service, but what we do have is a career service. And now what happens with career service is that we conduct a lot of sessions, and these sessions are aimed at building your job search skills. So let me talk about what those sessions can be. So these sessions can be, how you should be going about building your resume, or how you should be preparing for the job interviews, or how you should be prepared, building your LinkedIn profile. So how you should negotiate your salaries and all that. So those kind of sessions will be there. In addition, there will be an executive coach for you. There will be a guide for you, and that coach or guide will be there for you throughout the course. And if you have any questions or any doubt related to your career progression and all that, you have that guide, and you can interact with your guide on a regular basis and take that person's guidance, and basis that you take a decision of how you want to move ahead in your career. So that access to the coach or guide will be there in this program. Third, there will be alumni networking sessions where we will be inviting few PGPMAX alumni, and they will be talking about their experiences and all that. We will also have sessions about, session from executive search firm. They will be coming and giving a talk about how they go about and recruit people at top level positions. So all these sessions will be conducted, and the idea is to help students get those job search skills. So when they go out in the market and look for the next job, they feel confident and they feel ready to crack their next job. So those kind of services will be offered in this PGPMAX. But yes, the placement service will not be available. Typically, if you see across the world, or even in India, the placement service is offered only to full-time MBA students because they don't have a job, and they are relatively younger. People coming from 3 to 5 years of experience. It is easy for recruiters to come on campus and recruit candidates for people in the 3 to 5 years of category. People who are 10 and above years of experience, corporates typically find it expensive coming to campus and recruit just one candidate and all that. So that's one of the reasons why we don't have placement service or executive MBA. And of course, you have a job, and since we ask companies to support their candidate to pursue this job, it is unethical on our part to offer placement service to students of this program. So these are a few reasons why we don't offer placement service, because it does not work in the executive MBA program. The placement service does not work. But in addition, as I said, we offer career service support, and the objective is to help you get all those skills which will make you feel confident if you decide to look for your next job. So that kind of service will be there.
Yeah, thanks. It kind of answers my query, but still I have a follow-up question on that. So say for example, I come to the campus, I have very clear understanding these are the 5 companies which I want to target. Will you guys be able to help me?
So let's say 5 companies. What you'll have access to alumni portal. You can find out who's the ISB alum working with those companies, and through that you can make a connect. once you become a student of PGPMAX or any executive MBA program at ISB, you have the access to alumni portal, and our alumni community has 12,000 plus alums. So you have their contact email ID and everything from those portal, and you can make a connect using this ISB program, and so that facility will be there. And then we expect you to make a connect, make a relationship with those people, and then try to build your case and find a next job.
Okay, okay, got it. Not like the way PGPX of IMA is doing, which is also where also the average work experience around 8.5 years.
Yeah, it's a full-time program, right? It's a
1
full-time
year,
program.
yeah, 1
it's a
year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The placement service is offered to a full-time MBA program, not for executive MBA. If you're looking for a placement service, you should do a full-time MBA program.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
All right, Durga, you have raised your hand. You want to ask your question? Durga B.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello,
Durga.
sir.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
I want may know the content of what are the specializations in this?
Sorry, your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear you clearly. Can you repeat?
May know the specializations offered here, and how will be the course schedule, and what are the various steps involved in acquiring this degree?
Okay, so I understood your first question. Is there any specialization offered in this program? There's no specialization offered in this program. So it's a general management program, which means that there will be courses which will be touching upon different aspect of function, business function. It can be strategy, it can be finance, operations, entrepreneurship, technology. All those courses from these function domain will be taught. But there's no particular specialization. It's a general management oriented program, and the idea is to as you move up the ladder, you need to have a knowledge of different business functions, and that's why we say that, and that's why this what is it that you need to know once you move the corporate career, what kind of knowledge you should have, and that's why we offer courses, different courses from different business functions as part
May
of
know
this
the
study.
key details for this. Key details.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Maybe what you can do, you can type your question. I'll take it from there,
May
and
know
then
the
I'll try to
key
answer
details.
those. Fee, it's on the website. You can go to the website. So the fee is 39 lakh plus service tax. Sorry, it's GST.
Oh.
Yeah.
And any placements offered here? Placements?
No, placement service not there. We have career service support, which I already talked about what exactly career service support. But placement, if you're looking at placement, then full-time MBA program is optional, because any schools in India, only full-time MBA program offers placement service. Executive MBA do not
How
offer
about
placement.
full-time MBA fee of the full-time MBA?
Fee of the full-time MBA is 36, including tax.
And specializations and all will be there available on the website.
All there on the website. So whatever you're asking, it's there on the website. Go to the website and you'll have all those questions.
And what are the, I mean, is there any exam to be written for qualifying MBA?
No, there's no exam for PGPMAX. There's an application form. You fill those application form. Basis those application form, your application, we call you for the interview. And after interview, the admission offer is made.
How about general MBA? General MBA.
GMAT. For ISB, it's a GMAT. You take GMAT or GRE. And the score you get, that basically, gets, you have weightage of that score, because we do look at your GMAT or GRE score. Okay. Thiru Sudagoni, you can
really good answers from the panel and as well as from you.
Thank you.
I have a few questions, not too many. One is just now Durga is asking this question, but anyway, just I wanted to be a little bit elaborated on what are the current steps to be get involved in order to get the admission is confirmed from the day of we applied for the application.
All right.
So
yeah. So from the day you apply to the program, we receive your application, we receive your references, we go through your recommendations and application. Based on your application, we shortlist you for the interview, and then we invite you for the interview. Interview is conducted by typically PGPMAX alumni. They will be taking your interview. And after that interview, if you have done well, if your application is strong, if your interview has gone well, then you are given the admission offer, and that's when admission offer is released to the candidate.
So what is the time period basically, for example, let's say if we submitted the application and when we can able to see the shortlist for the interview, and yeah, afterwards, let's say after, let's say PGPMAX alumni is selected, then what is the timelines, please?
So typically from the time you submit your application till the time you get the results of your admission, it typically takes 45 days.
So everything is including in the 45 days, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The another question is, this is how much the percentage of the foreign students are as part of this program? I mean, the previous years maybe.
So percentage of foreign students are less. It's typically 5% will be. So, I mean, we have people coming from, let's say, Gulf countries, but they are basically Indian citizen. So we do have people coming from foreign countries, but in terms of people having non-Indian passport, it will be typically 5%, not more than that.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any the special selection process for those, let's say, who have the foreign passport? For instance, the reason why I asked is, let's say I was there in UK for, let's say, about 11 years, and I got, let's say, the British citizen. But is there any kind of, let's say, ratio or the different diversity of the people to selection or something which is relevant here, or just which is very open?
So, I mean, we want to increase our international diverse ratio. And let's say somebody who coming from non-Indian passport, they have a good chance of getting an admission. If they, meet certain benchmark, they have a good chance. And the reason why I'm saying they have a good chance, because as a school, as a class, we want to increase our international diversity. We believe in diversity. We believe that people come from different background, different experiences can add a lot of value to the classroom. So that's why somebody who has an international experience, we believe they can add a lot of value, and they have a good chance of getting an admission. So that way, people coming from non-Indian citizen passport, they have a strong chance of getting an admission.
Yeah, my last question, Anand, is due to the effect of the COVID-19, how the classroom is going to be? Because till now we are anyway working as in the offices as different, because we wanted to see the ISB, and as well as we wanted to meet people 5 days a week classroom in ISB. But what is your strategy towards the COVID-19 effect during the next year class?
Sure. So let me talk about what happened this year, and probably you can extrapolate that for next year. So this year class was supposed to start in the month of August 2020. Because of COVID, the class got delayed. The class got started October 17th, this last month itself. And there are two terms that are happening online. The term one, which is in October, that will happen online. The term two, which will happen in December, that will also happen online. We believe we can bring them on campus from January, and we can have our classroom sessions from January. That's what we are hoping. That's what we believe we can do. And the reason why we believe we can do that is we have brought them on campus. So they came to campus in the month of October, and the full-time MBA students are on campus now. And from the month of November, they'll have a classroom sessions. Through this experience, we will have this learning how to manage this situation and to have a classroom experience for rest of the students of the program, rest of the programs. Now, for your class, really by that time we would have learned how to have a classroom sessions, and we are fairly confident for the August 2021 we'll have a classroom. And is that for the class starting in August 2021, we'll have a classroom session. We will not be having online session. We had to have this online just because of lockdown and this, we did not know how to handle this COVID-19 crisis, and that's why we had to go to online. But as time progresses, we will be able to learn how to handle the situation. And from your cohort, we are fairly confident that we can have face-to-face classroom for the class starting in August 2021.
Yeah. Okay. I think just one small question. Of course, this is not to take too much time. I read in your website somewhere, let's say some of the last times or previous times, you guys are sending some kind of a test for the students who have applied it. Is that right, or there is no absolutely test for this particular admission process?
Yes. There's no test for PGPMAX admissions.
Okay, is that true? Right? Previously, sometimes you guys have sent some tests to attend the students. Is that because I read somewhere?
Yeah. There was a plan. There was a plan that we will be having tests for the PGPMAX students. But honestly, I don't know what happened because that decision was taken around 2 years back, and I joined PGPMAX admission team 3 months back. So I have not inquired what happened. But yes, you were right in saying that there was some communication made earlier that there will be tests for the PGPMAX aspirants. But as of now, there's no test. It's just basis of applications. You'll be called for the interviews, and after interviews, admission.
Okay. Thank you, Narottam. That's it. Thank you very much. Yeah. Cheers, man. Bye.
Thank you.
Narottam, hi, Anand here. One more question. I'm sorry, I'm just barged in without, it was. I'm sure it must be some other's turn. What is the what is going to be the batch size for next cohort? Because last, these days there were 5 people.
Sure. So what we did in 2019, for the students that you interacted, they were in class of 2019. Now in 2019, we tried to create 2 cohorts. One cohort started in April, the second cohort started in August. And the size of each cohort, it started in April and August, was 35. But we realized probably, we are not prepared to have 2 cohorts each year. So from this year, 2020, we had just 1 cohort. Batch size of this cohort in class which started in 2020 is 64. For the cohort which started next year, we'll have again 1 cohort, and the size that we are thinking will be 70, not more than 70 for the class which will start in 2021. In fact, this year also we were hoping to have a class of 70, but few students took deferral. They said that because of COVID, they will not be enrolling, they will not be attending classes this year, they will be attending classes next year. So we got deferral and we got a lot of deferral requests. So that's why the class became 64 for this year. But for next year, it's going to be 70.
Okay, thanks. I got it.
Yeah, thank you. Mukesh, I have allowed you to talk. You can ask your question.
Hi, Narottam, all the panelists and all the the various attendees. Firstly, I'll take a minute. Narottam, actually, I'm from the defense background, and I have put in about 18 years of service, and likely to take a VRS in 2023, and roughly I will be about an age of about 42 that time. So my question experience of the corporate. So whatever I could, when I was hearing the various panelists, so it is definitely a course which helps you to skill your, enhance your skills. But a person like me who would be coming back from a totally different background, how fruitful will this course be? That was my first question. And the second question, though this it has been answered well, quite comprehensively earlier, but just from the matter of the fact that how in the market, do this 20 years in the army, how well will it be taken in the market? In case if you could just dwell upon this.
Sure. So, PGPMAX does have we have alums come from defense background. And how this program is going to help you, I think the best person to answer that question is those alums who came from similar background as that of yours. I clearly remember this. We have this person, Captain Vishal Kanwar. He came from Indian Navy, and he was similar situation as that of yours, that he was about to take VRS 2-3 years later, and then that was the time when he enrolled into this program. And the moment he graduated, by the time I think he had taken his VRS, and then he moved to corporate career, and right now he's a director at PwC Consulting. He's taking care of defense and aerospace division over there. So what he has been doing, he is using his defense knowledge, and then he has used his PGPMAX business knowledge, and he's combined it and moved into corporate career. Maybe you can use something similar. You have this defense knowledge, and you will be giving this PGPMAX knowledge, management knowledge, And I'm sure there are a lot of industries which are focused towards defense industry, and that's where you can, make your case. You can, have a corporate career in that segment. Now, to be more specific, how this program can connect you with PGPMAX alums who's coming from your background, defense background, and how they shape their career in corporate sector after graduating from this program, because they can give a very detailed feedback how you can use this program and how you can use the learning from this program to move to a corporate career. Because that's what I'm assuming, that when you plan to take VRS, you would like to move to corporate career and all that. And no better than interacting directly with some alums who are coming from similar background as that, and hear from them directly that how did they make up their journey, and that can give you, better insights of how you can make your journey from defense sector to corporate sector. So maybe next year I'll share my contact details with you after this session. Take down my email ID, send me a mail, and I'll connect you with the alums from defense sector, and they will be able to give you better insights, because they have been coming from similar background as that of yours, and they have gone through this program. They have moved to corporate sector, so now no better than those guys to interact with and get some information from them.
Thank you, Rotam. One more question. Like this PGPMAX is a kind of a program where you having classes on the weekends, and then you have visits and to the various places also. So but now due to my present the kind of the commitment what I have, so I cannot be coming on every weekend. So do you suggest, if I have to join, then I have to take a VRS and then join? So if I do that, then what do I do for the next of the 5 days? So do you suggest me that I should pick up some kind of a job and then simultaneously do this course?
So let me talk about the format of this program first. So students come on campus, Hyderabad campus or Mohali campus for a week, and then you go back to your workplace, work there for 5 to 6 weeks, again come back, stay on campus for a week, complete a few courses, then you again go back. So it's not a weekend, it's a weekly format structure. So in a sense that what I'm trying to say is that you have to come to ISB campus for 12 weeks, and each week will spread over, after 5 to 6 weeks, and entire duration is 15 months. So let's say next week you come to, like from Monday you come to campus, and you'll be staying on campus till Sunday. You will go back, and after 5 to 6 weeks again you will come and again spend those 1 week, and then that's how this program is structured, PGPMAX program. Now weekend format, it's a PGP Pro program. We have another program, PGP Pro, and that PGP Pro is for people having typically 5 to 12 years of work experience. Those people take PG Pro, and for that program is a weekend format. PGPMAX does not have a weekend format. It's a weekly format where you have to take maybe leave for a week, come, and then you go back and work, and after 5 to 6 weeks again you come. Now how you can manage that situation? We can share with you a calendar, academic calendar for this program for the next year. You can go through that academic calendar, and then probably you can talk to your employer, and you can manage that calendar on your own, saying that, okay, for this week you need to be on campus, for that week you need to be on campus. So for that you can plan ahead, and then accordingly you can come on campus and complete those courses. So it's not weekend, it's a weekly format where you come on campus and try to complete all those courses. So now that you know the format, probably it will suit you better, because it's not a weekend time that you have to come every weekend and attend the courses. It's after every 5 to 6 weeks, you have to come here for a week, complete few courses, then you go back, and that's how you complete those 12 weeks over 15 months.
Okay. Thank you, Narottam. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, Thiru, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
So I'm here till the time all the questions answered.
Okay.
I will not leave.
Right. Hi, Narad. Basically, I'm based in Hyderabad. Okay. So, for instance, let's say if you want to stay 5 days at the school, is it mandatory to stay in the campus, or just you can come and go for the classes and you can come back to home?
So first of all, it's not mandatory. I mean, we do say that you should stay on campus, and why we say we should stay on campus. See, after the classes, professor will be giving you some assignments and project work. And those assignments and project work are completed in a group. So you will be a part of the 4 to 5 your classmates. And as a group, you complete those projects and assignments. And since your group mates will be on campus, it is advisable for you to be on campus when your group mates are there and they try to complete those projects. Now, once the classes finishes, let's say by 5 p.m., nobody is going to check where are you. I mean, you have been given the option to stay on campus. But if you decide to move out of campus, nobody's going to check, oh, why did you go move? Why did you go out of campus and all that? You have full flexibility to go and and stay outside the campus. But you will lose in that process, in the sense that since your group mates on campus, they will be working together and completing some project work. Maybe you will miss that experience. And one of the key features of the program that we say that you get to stay on campus, and that's how you build relation with your classmates, build relation with the faculty. And if you don't stay on campus, you will miss that part. And that's one of the important, beautiful part of that program, is that peer learning, peer experiences, interaction with faculty, outside the classroom and all that. That happens only when you stay on campus, and that's why we encourage people to stay on campus.
Okay, as part of the staying at Hyderabad, for instance, during the off work, let's say for example, let's after finishing the week's coursework, and the remaining 5 weeks we are at work. But at the same time, do we have the access to the, let's say, professor to meet if it is required any kind of help, or or anything, which, because I mean the advantage of the place we are staying.
Absolutely, it's professors on campus. You can set up a time. You can come and meet them.
Okay,
but
so
I mean, if the professor not at campus, then probably you'll have to interact with them on a phone call or on online channel itself. But if professor on campus, absolutely. I mean, you have access to all the campus facilities while you're a student at PGPMAX. So you can come to a library. You can go to you can use all the facilities of campus while you're a student, or even when you're an alumni. So once you become a part of ISB, you can come to campus anytime during the year as a student or as an alum, and interact with anyone who are there on campus.
Right. So when we awarded, let's say, admission, for instance, regarding the bank loans, do we have any specific things to be special banks which are offered to offer the loans, or such kind of facility is there, or how this will work?
So we have tie-up with 6 banks. We can provide you connects of those 6 banks, and you can reach out to them and get education loan. So basically, the kind of terms they offer loans through us will be better than the market rate. So it is always advisable to reach out to us and get the connects that we have, and reach out to those banks for education loans.
Good. One point is on the ISB alumni. How frequently these alumni are meeting each other, or just exploring their experiences to the students, whether it is a full-time or let's say PGPMAX or PGP Pro. How frequently, I mean, these kind of, let's say, the networking, or I would like to say the meeting, or some kind of a conference are happening.
Yeah. So I mean, we have around 20 chapters or 20-25 chapters. So each chapter is devoted to one particular city. So let's say Hyderabad chapter. Now, Hyderabad chapter, alumni community of Hyderabad chapter come together and they organize a lot of sessions or networking sessions within the community. So anybody, let's say, who has completed PGP or PGPMAX or PG Pro program, they can be part of those sessions. So once you graduate from this program, you get a full alumni status of ISB, and any event that is conducted in Hyderabad or on campus, you can come to campus and interact with different alums of this program as well as different programs. To be honest with you, over the last 6 months, we haven't had much of those alumni interactions physically. We have been having a lot of interactions online, where a lot of sessions have been having online, people coming and attending those online. In fact, yesterday itself, we have this PGPMAX Leadership Summit, where alums came together and they organized a lot of speaker sessions of who's who of India's corporate sector, and they came together and gave a session. So those kind of sessions will be done. They will be continuous throughout the year, and can attend those sessions whenever those sessions are happening, whether in Hyderabad or on campus, or let's say whichever part of the country, or maybe it can be Delhi, Mumbai, and you can be part of those sessions and get to know other alums of this ISB programs.
As part of the ISB alumni, is there any particular difference between full-time pro versus PGPMAX? I mean, no. It's not that the question I should ask, but because it is a little bit of different way of the program, right? So do we have any such kind of things, or ISB alumni is just the person who studied in ISB?
So Yeah, whatever services we offer, the services will be same for PGP Pro, PGP Max, and PGP. Only difference will be the number of strengths. PGP Max has alumni strength of around 800 because we started in the year 2010, and each class is 70. So so far we have 700 to 800 PG Max alumni. PGP Pro, PGP, the full-time MBA program has a lot of alumni, 10,000 plus, because it was started in the year 2000, 2001. And as a result of that, we have a lot of people in the PGP alumni community. But in terms of strength, that is the only difference. But in terms of what
Nautam, I'm asking a follow-up question on the Thiru, whatever he's asking. ISB, but then they are treated separately and they're
but we do have some event where alumni is invited. So we have this.
okay.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, Srinath. Chebolu Srinath, I've allowed you to talk. You want to ask your question? Srinath?
Hello, Narottam.
Yeah, Srinath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hi Narottam. I'm Srinath. I'm from pharma background. I'm a techno-commercial person with a master's in pharmacy and handling sourcing and procurement for one of the MNC company here. I just wanted to know the prospects of this course, and also the support from the company is required only to attend the classes, or does predominant of the candidates joining this program are also sponsored by the companies?
Yeah, support is only for joining the classes, not for sponsored. As a matter of fact, on PGMAX, typically 15% of people are sponsored by the organization. Rest of them fund on their own, or they take education loan to take admission into this program. Predominantly, people self-fund to take attend this program. When we say letter support, only we say that your company should be fine that you're taking this course at ISB. And the reason why we ask for that is that this is a 15-month program, and for those 15 months, 12 weeks, you will be on campus, and it is important that your company supports you, because if you miss any particular week, then you will not be able to graduate from this program in that particular year. So let's say you miss any particular week, you have to complete that week next year with the next incoming class and try to complete that program. So in order to attend all those 12 weeks, we believe that it is important that your company should be aware and company should be fine that person can come and attend this course at this. And that's why we ask for letter of support. We have this format in the application form, and based on that format, you can submit that letter of support. And now, when do you have to submit that letter of support? It's not at the time of application. Although it is optional, you can submit your letter of support at the time of application. But we strongly encourage people to reach out to the companies and ask for that letter of support so that they are fine with your attending the cloud courses. And that's when most of them are able to get that letter of support from the organization.
Okay. Okay. So I have been asking my company about the letter of support very recently. And the reason to ask is there could be chances where we may switch the company between these 15 years of coursework. That is one challenge that we could see. So when we again rejoin a new company, should we again submit a support letter from a new company?
No. No. At the time you are submitting a letter of support, it should be whichever company you are in that, and we are fine with that only letter support. We will not ask you for second letter support if you switch your company at the mid stage of the program.
Okay, okay. And I have one more question, Narottam.
Sure.
For me, as a science graduate, for me, rather than cracking GMAT, it would be always easy for me to apply and enter into programs like PGPMAX. And when I am opting such course, because it is rather than giving a test, it is through an interview. So how many are the candidates from the life science sector that are coming every year for these courses, and how are they going ahead after they are doing PGPMAX?
So typically people coming from pharma sector, I think it's around 10 to 15%. I don't know the exact number, but typically, around 10% or 10 to 15% are people coming from pharma, healthcare, biotechnology, background and all that. So that kind of, ratio we have over the last few years. In terms of how they have progressed in their career, it is better you interact with them directly. I mean, I can say that, the learning that you'll get from this program, it will make you feel more confident, you'll have more skill sets, you'll be more knowledgeable, and you can use that knowledge and skills in your organization and make yourself stand out from the rest of the candidate in your organization, because that's what you would have heard from our students also today, that once they go back to the organization, the kind of question that they are asking, in the organization, that makes them, stand out from the rest of the, their teammates and all that. So yeah, people do get benefit out of it, but how do and they use that knowledge and they move up in the career and all that. How it has shaped up, I can connect you with few alums who are coming from similar background, and then you can talk to them directly, and probably they'll be in a better position to answer those questions. How they have been able to do that.
It would be great if you can connect me with few people. The only dilemma I have in mind is how are they unlocking the next value addition in terms of person. And when we are self-funding such a huge amount to educate ourselves, how is that really happening over a period of time to pay back?
Sure. Do reach out to me. We have shared. I've shared my ID in the chat box. Reach out to me, and then we can connect you with.
I think the chat box
is
not getting updated. I will wait for some more time to check that.
It's Narottam_Kishore@isb.edu. One second. Let me put my email ID again. Okay, now you can see that.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, Ganesh Kulkarni.
Yeah, I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, Ganesh, I can hear you.
Thank you for staying on, spending your Sunday with all of the parents. Yeah, so one question I have is, like, I'm seeing, the panelists and then a lot of participants, they are coming from, like corporate background, maybe army, government, and so on. While I come from a startup background where, it's a bootstrapping startup and we are building a really good solution, which is unlocking a lot of value for our clients, mainly in US market. And it's growing, it's still early stage. So how my profile will stack up against, from all these, likes of Vodafone and Sanofi and these type of corporate companies? Is there any, preference you have for, certain type of backgrounds, or you look for more for mix of profiles?
Yeah. Diverse set of class. What we try to maintain in this class is that diverse participants. So we don't want people only from, let's say, top, Fortune 500 companies and all that. We need people who come from different backgrounds. It can be, let's say, startup background, entrepreneurship background. In fact, you coming from entrepreneurship background, you can add a lot of value to the classrooms. That's what we believe, that if people coming from different background, they can add a lot of value, and a lot of other people can learn a lot from those people. So you coming from a startup, you come from that startup background, entrepreneurship background, and we want to maintain a good ratio of people coming from startup entrepreneurship sector. So you have a good chance in the sense that since you come from that sector, where we want to have that healthy percentage of people come from entrepreneurship and startup sector. I can say that we want people from that sector, and that's why we have a good chance of getting an admission.
Okay, thanks. I have a small follow-up question. I hope it won't take a lot of time. Can you please connect me with someone from earlier batches who had similar profile? Came from mainly startup or entrepreneurship. Yeah, sure. I will drop an email to you. Yeah, thank you, Narat.
Sure. Thank you. Sheila, hi. You can ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, Sheila.
Hey, hi, Narottam. It was a great session. We got to know a lot of information and insights. And my question would be about the upcoming session having the classroom format in light of the COVID situation, right? We still don't know how things pan out few months from now. So are we still looking at having the sessions in Hyderabad, if I may choose to do from there?
Yes, as of now, we have this plan of having this classroom sessions from August 2021. That's our plan.
Okay.
But let's say things does not turn out the way we want it to be. So let's say the COVID does not subside, and even by August 2021, we are not able to have a classroom sessions. We will give you options. We will give you options to say, okay, we promised you that we will be having classroom sessions, but now since we are not having classroom sessions, we are having online sessions. You have three options. Either you can withdraw. We will give you the option to withdraw. We will also give you option to defer your admission and say that, okay, I'm not going to come into the classroom this year. I'll come to the class in August 2022. We will also give you that option. You can defer your admission, and you can attend the class whenever the next cohort will begin, which is August 2022. That option will also be there. And of course, the third option will be that you go ahead with whatever format that will be offered. Most likely it will be face-to-face, but if it is not face-to-face, it will be online. If it is online, you have this option, and only after you exercise those options, you take whatever seems best to you.
Okay, so this course start is from August
2021.
Yes. Is it?
Yes.
August 21. Okay.
Yes.
In case it continues to be online, God forbid no, but in case it happens that way, would there be a reduction in the fee structure?
No, there will not be a reduction in fees. So this year also there was no reduction. I mean, although the first two terms are happening online, but there's no reduction in the fee structure. In fact, what we have done is that for this year, so it's a 12 weeks program. But what we have done with this cohort which was supposed to start in August 2020, for them we have made it 13 weeks program. So in fact, they have lost just 1 week, because we are hoping that from term 3 onwards, we can bring them on campus and have a classroom sessions. So for them, there will be 13 terms, not 12 terms. So in a way, they have lost just one term online way. But in a way, the duration has increased, but the fee has not come down.
Okay. And as such, I don't, given the current scenario, I don't think it is possible for me to take off the 12 weeks. So I'm planning to look at doing it full time, right? Given the other priorities I need to attend also.
Right.
Although what I said previously is the primary factor. And also I just heard from you a little while ago that if you are not, there's a shortfall of even 1 week, then you will have to kind of redo it with an upcoming cohort to complete the program, right?
Yes. So let's say you're not able to attend.
You do 10 weeks and you don't do 2 weeks.
2 weeks. You will not graduate. You will have to complete those 2 weeks with the next incoming class. And only when you complete those 2 weeks, you will graduate from this program.
My God, that's stringent.
Yeah, that's why we say, you should have a letter of support from the organization, so that you know that which week you have to be here.
So if I'm doing it full time, like I said, given the situation, and I don't think there's a feasibility of I doing 12 weeks given the current scenario, in which case I don't need any letter of support. I just go ahead and do, right?
Absolutely.
I go ahead and apply.
Yes, but you have to take GMAT and all that. So, whatever the process there for full-time MBA, you have to take GMAT.
No. I want to do PGPMAX, given I have 20 plus years experience in IT.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so there's no full-time. There's only this part-time that we have for PGPMAX. PGPMAX is part-time. It's no full-time.
Right. I meant I don't. If I do it while I'm working,
right.
I don't see the possibility of getting 12 weeks off at the moment, right? And therefore, I would like to do this and dedicate my time towards this 15-month program, right?
Also, you're saying that you want to take a break from your job?
Yeah.
You can do that.
I can do that, right? Then there's no necessity of a letter of support and all that.
Yeah.
So I can flex it the way I want.
Yeah.
Okay. So my request would be, Narottam, if you could help me with, contacts of senior IT professionals who have done this.
Sure.
A couple of them, I would like to reach out and talk to them.
Sure.
Especially as I would be taking a break. I have been thinking about it, so that's where I'm heading, I think.
Sure.
And therefore, I would like to kind of think through and do a little bit of more homework and then proceed with the needful steps.
Absolutely. So I believe you would have got my email ID. You can
yes.
You can send me a mail on that.
Sure, Narottam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheila. Thiru, a lot of people have raised their hands. So can I ask them to,
please.
You can send me a mail and let's have a one-to-one conversation. Whatever questions you have, I can answer those questions maybe on a weekday.
Definitely, not a problem. Sure.
Other people have raised their hands, so I just want to give them a chance. Pawan, do you want to ask your question? Yeah,
Narottam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Narottam. Thanks for taking the time and explaining everything clearly. The question I had is kind of like a follow-up to what Sheila was asking. So you said the company consent letter is not important, especially if you're trying to take a break and do this course, like dedicating all your time. My question is, do we have a disadvantage in that scenario? Or do you have a lot of people in the previous cohorts who have done something similar?
Yeah. Typically, people don't leave their job to do this program. We do have a case where people leave their job and do, but the percentage will be very less. Whether you have a disadvantage, see, when we evaluate the application, we look at their work experience, we look at how they're going to use this learning into their work and all that. And that's where you may struggle if you're not working and if you say that you want to devote your full time and do this course. So that part may put you at a disadvantage, saying that how you're going to implement this learning at your workplace and all that. But if you have some conditions, so let's say you can turn around and say, oh, I have my own entrepreneurship, whatever. You can say that this is how I'm going to use this learning of this program into whatever project you are working on. So probably you can strengthen that case. But yes, since a lot of people will be working and applying to this program, and if somebody is not working and applying, probably they have a slight disadvantage because you lose that work experience that other people have. And we do have this criteria of work experience evaluating anybody's application and all that. So yeah, you are at a slight disadvantage there.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. So currently I'm in US and I wanted to use this course to transition back to India and start up and go forward in my startup journey or completely change my domain. So yeah, I understand there would be a bit of a disadvantage, but we'll try to play that like you said and see how the application goes through.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Subbarao, you want to ask your question?
Yes, Narottam, thank you for giving this opportunity. Most of the questions my friends has asked already. Most of them are clear for me. My questions also similar to them. And one question which I have not observed is that is this the same subject and content or the same with respect to PGP and PGP Max, or does the subject have more when compared to PGP?
It's not the same subjects. Subjects are different. PGP courses are catered towards people having work experience of, let's say, 4 to 5 years of work experience. PGP Max have subjects, courses tailored towards people having, 15 to 17 years of work experience. So the course curriculum, courses, everything is differ from PGP and PG Max. Even faculty is different from PGP to PG Max. In PG Max, we'll have more experienced faculty because the class is more experienced in that. So the kind of faculty who will be teaching the PG Max will be more experienced, they have a lot of industry knowledge, they have a lot of knowledge of that subject matter that they will be teaching. So even faculty is different. So that way, there is a clear differentiation between PGP and PG Max in terms of courses, curriculum, and faculty.
Yeah, okay, I agree in that. But my intention is that I'm just looking for the campus placements also. But what I've heard from the previous questions that there is no placements are available for this PGP Max program, right?
Yes. So any executive MBA that you want to do across India or outside India, anywhere, the placement service is not offered. It does not work for executive MBA. If you're looking for a placement service, we always encourage people to go for full-time MBA, where people have to leave the job and then complete that full-time MBA. And that's when placement service. But again, so I want to stress upon one thing: people who are 10 and above years of work experience, and they want placement service, right? I would encourage you to talk to alumni who came from a similar situation, people who are 10 and above of work experience, they do full-time MBA program, and how easy or difficult it is to get a job through placement service. Now, the reason why I'm saying is that it is not going to be easy for people 10 and above years experience getting a job through placement service. Although I'm not saying that you'll not get a job, you will get it's going to be a struggle in the sense that typically people who come on campus, companies who come on campus, instead of recruiting people of 4 to 5 years of work experience. People who are 10 and above years of experience, they find difficult to get a right kind of job after graduating the program. And a lot of effort, they also put in themselves. Of course, school also put a lot of effort for them to get placed. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not going to be easy that once you come to a full-time program, you are guaranteed a job. It's not that. You will still struggle. You will still use your own contacts, use your own resource to find a suitable job. Of course, you can get any job if you are saying that, okay, I want to get any job, you can get that. But whether that job will be fit for you may not be fit for you, because if you see your peers who are, let's say, 4 to 5 years of experience doing the same kind of job, that where you may feel frustrated and all that, and that's where people think that's not the right fit kind of job that they're getting into. So that's the kind of reality that's it. So that's why I'm encouraging you to talk to people who have done full-time MBA program with 10 and above years of experience, or what kind of challenges and struggle that they face to get a job.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Narottam. How can I get contacts of this alumni who has done this? Because I'm having around 13 years of experience from manufacturing field within the production and the quality and some kind of maintenance, and now I'm in planning department.
Okay.
Can you give some details of this alumni who has come from the manufacturing sector?
Sure. So send me a mail. I'll try to find out a few alums from full-time MBA program coming from your background, and we can connect you there.
Yeah, should I say now, or shall I type it in the?
Send me an email. You've got my email ID.
Yes,
on
yes.
chat inbox. You can
Yes.
send me an email there.
Yep. Sure. Thank you, Narottam.
All right. Thank you. Nikhil.
Hi, Narottam.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and first of all, thanks for taking your time, and also thanks for the panelists. This was a great session, and thanks for this opportunity as well. I work as a software architect. I have over like 12 years of experience. I'm kind of getting, when I looked at the ISB website, I get confused between when I look at the PGP Pro and the PGPMAX. So what would one look at when I look at both the programs? What would be those differentiating factors to understand which one better suits for you, assuming that you can make up to both the schedules?
So you have 13 years of, what is your?
Yeah, 12 years.
12 years, okay. So I would encourage you to go to, the curriculum and participants. So few things that you want to consider before deciding which course you want to take. You are eligible for both. Go through the curriculum. What kind of courses will be taught in PG Pro? What kind of courses will be taught in PG Max? Go to the faculty. Who will be teaching in PG Max? Who will be teaching in PG Pro? Look at the participants. Who are the participants in PG Pro and who are the participants in PGPMAX? Participants play a big role in the sense that, peer learning, that's what we talk about. The peer in PG Pro will be average work experience of 8 to 9 years. The peers of your PGPMAX will be average work experience of 16 to 17 years. You come into PGPMAX, you may feel a lot of inspiration seeing senior people in the classroom and all that, which you may find missing with PG Pro, because the average work experience of PG Pro will be 8 to 9 years. Another important aspect of PGPMAX is that you get to stay on campus, so you have that campus experience. That's another important criteria. People say that, oh, I want campus experience. So do you, that way, if you're looking at campus experience, then PGPMAX is the one. PG Pro, it's a weekend structure where you come to the campus, attend the classes, then you go back. You don't get to stay on campus. So these are the few factors, as I said, faculty, curriculum, campus experience, participants, alumni network. Also, you want to see what kind of alumni network you have in PGPMAX and PGP Pro, because you would be interacting a lot through your alumni community if you decide to be a PG Pro student or PGPMAX students. So these are things that you want to go through that, and basis that you want to take a decision which program and apply to that program.
Sure. Thanks, Naruto.
All right. Thank you, Nikhil. Partha Pratim Day, you want to ask a question?
Thanks for answering so many questions, and really gives lots of insights, and thanks for everyone and participants. So one quick questions, most of my questions has already been answered, and few of them are from COVID perspective. So a couple of questions are there still, like during these COVID situations, how you are planning for the boarding, lodging, and along with the travel things, and whether all these things are included in the course curriculums fees actually.
Yeah. So be it COVID or no COVID, boarding and lodging is all included in the course fee. And only thing that you have to spend extra is the travel expenses. So when you travel from your hometown to campus in Hyderabad or Mohali, that's where you have to meet your travel expenses. Or when you travel for international immersion, where you have to go to US, or when you have to go to Singapore or Hong Kong, whenever this Asian leg of international immersion happens, that travel component, again, you have to bear that. But rest of the expenses, your boarding, fooding, course material, everything is part of this fee structure. Only additional thing that you have to expense is the travel expense.
Okay. So then the follow-up question is like that for the international immersion program. So is there which country or where we have to go? Is there any kind of planning has already been done, or it would be done during the courses?
So there will be 2 international immersion. 1 week you will be spending in US. It will be either at Kellogg Business School or Wharton Business School. This year it is the class is going to US in Wharton Business School. They will be going, not as of now, they will be going next year. And the second international immersion will be in Asia. This will be either in Singapore or Hong Kong. Now, last year, Asian immersion leg used to happen in China, the SEEBS Business School in China. That's where Asian immersion leg happened. But because it's COVID, probably China tour may not happen, but we will have second international immersion in Asia. And that country is not yet finalized. It can be either Asia or Hong Kong. But whenever we finalize that country, you go to a top business school in that country, and that's when you interact with or learn in that particular business school. So it can be Wharton Business School in US, that's one definitely, and second will be in Asia. That Asian country is not yet finalized, but by the time you take an admission, the Asian immersion in Asia, the country will be finalized, and you'll get to know that.
Okay. Thank you. My last question is regarding the loan and education loans and all those things. So, is it possible to get in touch with those educational loan banks, and so that I can talk with them and then see what kind of loans facilities and they are giving.
Yeah, so we have tie with 6 banks, and we can provide you contacts of those banks, and you can connect with them and get all the terms and conditions for the loan. But what I would suggest you is to first go through the application process, get the admission offer, and then you connect with those banks, because banks will give you loans basis application admission offer that you get from this program, and basis that you can get the loan.
Yeah.
So first go through that process, and once you have the admission offer, then then that's when you should reach out to banks and talk about the terms and conditions. Although the terms and conditions are mentioned on the website. So if you go to our PGPMAX website, you will see on what terms and conditions these banks are giving loans.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Narottam, hi, Anand again. And one more question. For the recommendation piece, say for currently, I have not, spoken about this in the organization, and I want to go to the organization once I have a, admit letter in hand. So, but then recommendation piece, do you need from organization only? Yes. Like
No,
that.
It can be your manager, it can be a previous manager, it can be a professional colleague also. People who can talk about your professional strengths, weaknesses, and how you're going to get benefit of this program. So we don't mandate that you have to have your recommendation from your current organization. If you have somebody else who knows you well professionally as well as academically, you can get their references.
And how many recommendations?
2 recommendations.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Let me see if anybody else has raised their hand. Okay. Prasad, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, Narottam. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks for everything, for the panelists, for the wonderful questions asked by the co-friends as well here. My question is on, for the people, for the students from the alumni, how fast were they able to move up the ladder within their own organization, or if they have moved out, how did they end up? How fast they moved into the ladder? Because for some reason we are not able to get the answer of the placements, right? So this maybe statistics on this can help. Narottam.
Sure. So how fast they are able to move up? I mean, we have not conducted any survey, but let me talk about one survey conducted by The Economist magazine, by the PGPMAX alumni community. Now, in the year 2020, this year itself, The Economist magazine came out with a ranking, EMBA, Executive MBA ranking, and ISB was placed 43rd in that Executive MBA ranking. And the way they come out with this ranking is that they conduct survey with the students, that they conduct survey with the alumni, and basis those results that they get, they come out with this ranking. Now, let me share the insights of that survey, which will probably help answer that question. So the insight of the survey was PGPMAX graduates, about 80% of them were either promoted or they grew their business within 2 years of graduating from the program. That's one insight Economist magazine gave. The PGPMAX students, 80% of them were either promoted or they were able to grow their company within 2 years after graduating from the program. That was one insight. Second insight, PGPMAX students when they entered this program and when they graduated from this program, their salary increased by 40%. Again, that insight was given by Economist Magazine. The third insight that PGPMAX Economist Magazine gave was that 3 years after graduating from the program, PGPMAX students' salary grew by 63% as compared to their pre-PGPMAX salary. So let's say pre-PGPMAX salary, whatever it was, and after 3 years, their salary was 63% and above as compared to what their salary was there before PGPMAX. So these are the few insights that will help you get an insight that what kind of career progression or career growth of people have happened and after people have graduated from this program. I thought I can use that data, probably that data will help you answer this query, but any specific study, we have not done that because we don't ask any salary related to questions to our alumni. But if there is any survey has been done by Economist Magazine or Financial Times Magazine, we are happy to share those insights. And you can find that insight if you go to the Economist EMBA ranking 2020, you will see ISB data out there, and it will share all executive India ranking content.
Yeah, thank you. I think that answers my question. And as a a quick suggestion, maybe you can also do a survey with participants as anonymous. At least that can give some candid view of the numbers.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
All right, Prasad, thank you very much. Manish Agarwal, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, hey, Natam. Just a follow-up question on the recommendation part. So you, as per what would be your suggestion on who could be the right person to write recommendation? And when I'm looking at my case, since I'm running my own company right now, so should I get from my peers or should I get from someone outside?
For you, it can be your customer, it can be your vendor.
Okay. So they're like all valued equally, like as compared to like getting someone from senior in the company or from peer, or get someone from outside as well.
Yes.
Okay. And could it be from like your past contact as well, like someone who's worked with in the past? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Kinshik, you want to ask a question? Kinshik.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I have a question pertaining to this. Like, I'm from banking industry. So, is there any segregation made, like this many percentage of this many seats allocated for banking or this many seats allocated for consulting? These many seats. Like, do you have any segregation in terms of selecting the candidates, or it's open?
There is no segregation. It's open. But we're trying to maintain the diversity. So we try to have a class having banking people. We try to have a class which has technology people. We try to have a class which has pharma people, healthcare, real estate, automobile, and all that. So we want to maintain that diversity. There's no fixed percentage that what percentage of people will come from banking sector or consulting sector. We want to have a good mix of all. So it can vary. Some year it can be, let's say, 10%. Some year it can be 15%. But it is important that we want to maintain the diversity, and we want to have people from banking industry in the classroom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can you raise your hand if anybody else have not been able to, if their questions have not been answered, you can still raise your hand. I can answer your questions. Let me see. Yeah, so far, nobody else. One second, let me see. One second. Shivangi, yes, you can ask your question. Shivangi Singh, do you want to ask your question? I've allowed you to talk. You can unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
So Narottam, thank you for extending the session for some time. I just wanted to ask one question regarding the recommendations. I've shortlisted 3 people who could possibly give me recommendations. One would be my immediate boss, who's VP in the organization, and one is my previous manager, who's moved to another company, of course, and one of my previous managers, again, who has been an ISB alumni himself. So I understand that it need not be your immediate boss, but I just wanted to understand, will it make any difference if I kind of, between my two previous managers, if I kind of prefer the ISB alumni? I mean, I understand that, what you write in your applications and what you write in recommendations is what matters. But will that make some difference to my application or?
Absolutely. If ISB alumni recommending you, that means ISB, that alum is believing that you can add a lot of value to the class and all that. So we take that feedback very seriously. So if you have an ISB alumni who can give you feedback, that would be great. I would encourage you to go for that.
Sure. And also one more question. Actually, one of the recommendations that I'm planning to get, it might take some time, so I'm not sure if I will be able to make it to the first round, although I've decided that I would apply. But I just got a reply on my question that, the chances of being selected are better in, in round one.
Yeah.
I mean, is there considerable difference there, or I mean, if your profile is like good, so you still have kind of I would say 60-40 chance in the second round of selection, or does it really becomes very low because mostly offers are being shared after the first round only?
No, so 60-40 is a good ratio. So basically, why we say round one chances are high, because we get, as compared to round two, we get less number of applications in round one. So that means that we want to finish, we want to fill 50% of the class with whatever application we get in round one. So if you have less number of applications, you have better chance of getting an admission if you apply in round one. But if you have to quantify, yeah, you are right, 60-40, so you have 60% chance in getting admission round one, 40% chance in getting admission round two. So it's not that extremely low in round two. But yes, it gets a little difficult because we get more number of, so I would say we get 40% application in round one and then 60% application in round two. So that's how 60-40 is the ratio. You want to pick that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Narottam. And I think I'll send you an email for getting some alumni contacts in my field, so that I come from intellectual property background in life sciences. So I would want to understand if I mean, although I am pretty much decided, but still I would want to get some perspective, get a last minute advice if how does it, what is it. So I'll send an email to you for such such contact if you have.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if you can still raise your hand, I'm still here. So if anyone has any more questions, please raise your hand.
Yeah, hi, yeah, just a few final questions. This is just a topic on recommendation as well. Let's say once we get these recommendations from, the previous alumni or our bosses, will ISB will contact them for any kind of, let's say,
no.
Yeah, because.
Kinshuk, you want to mute yourself first, please? So we will not contact. So as a matter of fact, what we do is that we pick few applications and we do a reference check. So it's not that, so let's say we get 200 applications, we'll not do all the reference check for 200 applications. We'll pick few samples, any random person, and then we do a reference check of everything. So it may happen that it may get picked up for you, and then we do all the reference checks and all that. But it does not happen for all the applications. It happens for only few of them. And that's how we go back and check everything with what that person has written in the application.
Right. Okay. So in terms of the application writing support, I think you have some sessions upcoming, right? So, like how that will be help us, let's say, in terms of just generating the application for this course.
Yeah. So next Saturday we are doing application workshop. So if you go through the application form, if you have any questions, just park that question, just note down that question. And next Saturday we will be doing an application workshop where we will be taking you right from the beginning till the end, what you should all write and how you should write when you're trying to fill different section of the application. So that's what we are conducting application workshop next Saturday. Next Sunday also, we will be continuing with that. It's there on the website. We will be sending a detail to you on your email IDs, and you would get to know the timing and all that. So if you have any questions related to application, attend that sessions, and whatever queries you have, we'll try to answer those queries in that workshop.
Right. Okay. So this is the last question from my side is because I am from the IT background, just I would like to know some of the alumni on the IT from the previous, let's say, PGP program, or so that just I have few questions on the IT industry perspective, let's say. So just I will reach out to you on the email anyway. Just please drop me, and yeah, that's one.
Sure.
Yeah. Finally, thank you very much for your call today. This is a lot of insights for us actually. So I think this gives us very clear direction, and you know, it's cleared actually all clouded mind. What should happen? Really, thank you very much. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Nara.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah, you can raise your hand again. I can, once again, Kiran. Kiran, I've allowed you to talk. You can ask your question. Kiran Pathali, you want to ask your question? Yes, Kiran.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, by mistake, it was clicked on.
Okay. No issues.
Myself, Kinshuk here. I have a doubt.
Yes, Kinshuk, tell me.
Pertaining to this recommendation letters, which we were discussing with a couple of in past couple of some minutes, how impactful are they?
It is
like you. I mean, like, how is it going to be effective in terms of my application? Like, I wish to know that how effective is that? How effective ideally it should be, the recommendation letters.
Okay, so let me talk about 5 key things that we look when somebody submit. We evaluate people's application. One is, of course, their education background. What kind of education background, qualification you have, and all that. Second is your work experience. You see the quality of work experience, what kind of work experience you have. Third is your essays, what you write in your essays. We go through that and we try to understand whether that person is going to be. We try to know through that essay what kind of person that candidate is. Fourth is references. We read your references, recommendations seriously, and it is a very important criteria in evaluating the application. So yes, the recommendation is a fourth important criteria that we look at. And fifth is interview, how you perform in that interview basis that evaluation. So these are the 5 key things that we look at when we evaluate people's applications. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Does anybody else has any other question?
Yeah, Narottam, sorry, this is Manish again. And actually, the voice was breaking on my side because of net issue. So can you just quickly summarize again, like what are the key things you look for in the application?
Okay. First is your academic background, academic qualification. That is first. Second is your work experience, the quality of your work experience and all that. We do not look at designation and all that. We only see what kind of work you're doing and how you're adding value to the organization or to whatever you're doing, how it is adding value. Third is your essays, what you write in your essays. We try to get a feel of that person through that essay. Fourth is recommendations, what kind of recommendations you are receiving from your references. And fifth is the interview, how you perform in that interview. So these are the 5 things that we look at when we evaluate people's application.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Does anybody else has any other questions? Because I don't see anybody, any hands raised. Or if anybody has any questions, please do ask. If you are muted, you can unmute yourself and ask me directly, or because nobody else has asked any other questions.
Narottam, this is Nikhil again.
Yeah, Nikhil.
should the recommendations be from the reporting managers, or should they can be from the peers or colleagues or ex-colleagues?
Yeah, it can be peers, colleagues, ex-colleagues, all.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, looks like nobody else has any other questions. Good, so I have shared my email ID to all of you. If you have any queries, do reach out. And yeah, if you want to have a one-to-one conversation with me, do reach out to me on that email, and I'll connect with you next week. And yeah, if you have further questions, I will be happy chatting to you and clarifying your doubts. So with that, I conclude this session. Thank you very much for spending your Sunday evening with us. I hope you found this session informative and useful. I hope it has helped you take an informed decision. And yeah, I wish you all the best. And I look forward to see you on campus if you decide to enroll into PGPMAX program. Thank you, and have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Narottam. Thanks. Cheers. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.